Hey, it's the Bennington Show. Tuesday. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
And I am Ron Bennington. Vito dressed as if he's going to be splitting wood today. I like that look. Chris still in the dull dad shirt. Oh. Who would have thought that I would have missed Chris's old Zoo York look?
I know.
It's all gone now.
I mean, this is a nerdy look you get going here. What's happened to cool guy?
Bennington Show on a Tuesday. Big night for you, Vito, the nature boy. Is it a 30 for 30?
30 for 30, 10 p.m.
10 p.m. The nature boy, ready to blow the lid off the wrestling business. From my understand, a lot of those matches have been fixed. So throughout the years, if you bet on professional wrestling, you were being had, my friend. A lot going down next Tuesday, 1 week from today, is our big Thanksgiving show. Chris Stanley was doing a run-through with the man who lost 182 pounds, Hard Rock Johnny. And you seem to think that we're all set up.
Everything's falling into place very nicely. I feel very confident.
The radio newlywed game, that's going to run as smoothly as possible?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And some other surprises. Be there or don't be there. I'm not going to say be square because you know what? The bullying time is over. I think we've learned quite a bit how online bullying can lead to something horrible. So careful with your Facebook stuff. You'll be considered a nut. I've never been on the Facebook. Are you on it, Gail?
I have one that I used to use a while ago. I still use it in the way that I check up on other people, but I don't put anything on it anymore. I don't use it actively as a profile for myself. It's more like what's going on with my friends and family who exclusively use Facebook.
Okay, so you don't interact with
I don't.
Strangers or fellows. Chris Stanley, I don't even think I told you this, Gail. But somebody wrote to me about Chris going off, so I looked up his Facebook page, and apparently, according to Mr. Stanley, and I can't believe I found this out a week ago, he has been hacked, and somebody is, and not enough that it's ridiculous. I mean, it certainly seems like it's stuff that Chris Stanley. You can't even find your own Facebook.
I'm being had right now because it's not me. This isn't me on Facebook.
What I'm trying to say is you can't get your Facebook up on the screen right now.
I'm bringing it up now. This imposter.
He's 3 feet away. You could tell he wasn't listening to me at all. I had laid out the thing and then he just said it back to me.
Here it is. Someone named Chris Stanley.
Well, it isn't someone named Chris Stanley. This is your
you are Chris
Facebook.
You are Chris Stanley.
The person's name isn't Chris Stanley. This is a Facebook that you had set up in the past, Chris.
And it's just
correct?
Yes. And now it's been hijacked for some reason.
I don't know why this is stunningly weird to you. Since I pointed it out to you a week ago, you'd want to go down further so we could see the stuff that you have done.
All right, so here's the posts that this person's making.
Go up to the top now so I can see that one. I never vomited on my girlfriend, but I have eaten an entire pizza alone by myself. And then people just answer him back like he's Chris. I don't care what Leslie says. I don't look like Vito. There's a picture of Don Vito.
Aww.
Good to see you, buddy. There's nothing wrong with a McDonald's playpen. There's no reason. I remember when Mom used to say, get on the futon, Chrissy, pull it out. A large Mexican gravy boy felt up BL. See, it's only every couple of days, and people answer back.
Yes.
Because these aren't ridiculous enough for anyone to say.
It's not like he's on there saying racist, homophobic slurs and trying to get himself in trouble. It seems like it could be Chris.
And then he finds out that other people just even started following him recently. And Hear all about tans so that was the day that we were talking with BL.
Yes.
I didn't even know that was BL's last name now. Then he just writes on October 30, I love ham and I love beer.
Seems like something Chris would say.
Gravy Boy's mom is going down on this Godfather trivia. Art Garfunkel yelled at me. And look, there's BL writing back to him. Everyone loves me except for Vito. I like him, lifesaver, bouncing around in the mouth. That's the day he got in trouble for sucking on his lifesaver.
Yep.
I am a white motherfucker, miss, but I'm not fat.
That's when a lady called me a fat white motherfucker in the street in Brooklyn.
And then he writes here, typical fuck nuts behavior. So, Chris, this has been going on. I went back and looked at it for quite some time.
Jesus.
Like 6-8 months.
Unbelievable, Chris.
Because you don't check up on your Facebook?
No,
But you set that page up. I'm trying to explain to you your whole life.
Yeah.
You say this is a guy named Chris Stanley. It isn't. This is
someone saying they're you.
Your account.
I never checked Facebook. I made one years ago, and I just never got into social media.
That's it, dude. This is the page. This is the fucking thing you have to understand. This is yours that you set up and then abandon, and you let somebody take it over and cuck you, completely cuck you out.
I abandoned my Facebook.
Give me Lord. 844 Rock God, 844 Rock God. So, if you like to follow on with a guy who actually seems more Chris than Chris, it's the Chris Stanley Facebook page. Now, do you guys remember the other day that, I don't know whether you know this, but you could track runners in the New York Marathon, that if you get their number, I guess they're wearing a little pin or something, you'd be able to tell.
I had no idea you could do that.
When your cousin's running down the street. So I look at it, there was a couple celebrities, and so I lock in Kevin Hart. So we're like, okay, here's Kevin Hart, 64th Street, 65th Street. Kevin Hart's going to be running by any second. Never saw him. So I naturally say, well, this thing's fucking bullshit. See the New York Post today, 23,000 people were tracking Kevin Hart of Hollywood, but it wasn't the Kevin Hart.
Oh my God.
And the Hollywood was Hollywood, Florida. Jason, what's up?
Yeah, I'm glad you guys brought this up because I just started following him not too long ago on Facebook, and I've been wanting to call in and just kind of clarify because it didn't seem quite like it was him. Because, you know, it seems like he should be having more input than what he was on the Facebook page. I'm glad you guys brought it up.
I mean, I don't think Chris would have wrote, I'm a fucking Jew.
Yeah.
But
that's
no.
little blunt even for Chris.
Here's the thing, Vito, are you an IT guy, or do you know any IT guys that could crack this case, that could take this case and we could find out who the online bully is, who has pushed this poor bastard almost into committing suicide?
I can get a hold on some hackers.
I don't think you can just by saying it like that. I don't need a hacker. I need somebody that could just trace this.
You need someone to get the hacker.
Yeah. I don't need Mr. Robot, all right? What I'm talking about is Chris Stanley, through some kind of a drunken mess, gave out his password one night. Or maybe sold it, for all we know. But whoever this person is that's doing this, I'd like him to be the executive producer of the Bennington show, because he's way more consistent, where I couldn't even get this guy to set the bid up today. There's another Chris Stanley out there. No, there isn't. There is not another Chris Stanley. You are Chris Stanley. This person has your password.
You did say it as though, if this is a strange coincidence, this guy is also called Chris Stanley.
This lets me know that next Tuesday is going to be a fucking logistical nightmare.
Oh, I would
again, Chris. This fucking room is hot.
We can't. The AC is all the way down, so I'm sweating as well.
Vito, I want you to look into what Chris has refused to all week and finding out why this room is a fucking steam bath every day. All right?
Okay. I didn't know until right now.
Here's what, of course not. I've only brought it up every day with him, but I want this air conditioned. Okay? I want the air to be in a condition.
Is there a specific condition you'd like the air to be?
What I'd like to be is a coolness, condition the air to come down cool. We now are able to control the temperature of the air itself through the miracle of air conditioning. Now, at some point, this kicks in, blows out the dust into my throat. What I'd like to have is the air conditioning is on at all time. I'd like this to be known as the meat locker of this place. I like if somebody has cases of Cokes, they just fucking bring them into this room and know that they're going to be cold Cokes when they're done. Who's Vito on the phone with right now? Who's his new fucking friend?
I think it has something to do with the AC.
Calling facilities.
I don't ever want it to take place during the show. What I want, I'm not here for 21 hours, right? I want that fucking 21 hours. I want this place to be like a beehive. People moving, making things happening. Okay? And then the 3 hours I'm here, perfection.
I just told him I'd call him back later.
That could be your life that you just phone call.
I watched him on the phone and actually make the face and go, oh, not right now, actually.
Well, yeah, because I don't
found
want
out.
somebody down here with a fucking ladder and a drill while I'm on the air.
No, I would never have them come in during the show. I was just going to be like, hey, let's set up an appointment. Maybe a nice little 4:15 appointment.
Well, I'm still here at 4:15, okay? Because I have to do an unmasked today.
4:35 appointment.
Why don't you take them at that point into the unmasked fucking pod? Because I'm not calling it. I want that room named after me.
The Ron Bennington pod?
Yeah, the Ron Bennington unmasked pod.
We just kicked me.
Occasionally town hall pod. I don't understand it. There's nothing that I fucking hate more than when you ask someone to do something. Someone to do something is when they do it immediately. That drives me nuts. You think it would be just the opposite, but I'm just acting like you're on top of it, but only because you were just told right now. I mean, unless there was a fire or something, then yes, act immediately.
Brad Steiner writes, I feel like all signs point to Tom Sharpling as fake Chris Stanley.
Sharpling is an evil genius. There's no doubt about that. And he has it in for Stanley. Stanley is his nemesis. You have done an amazing job of keeping him off our show lately, though. I don't know why that happened.
Why do you?
It seemed like we were on a regular with Tom.
Well, I suggest it, and then he just keeps saying, oh, that week's bad for us. We're really booked.
Tom Sharpling doesn't like me.
No one likes you, Chris. If we went by what you're saying, we could never have a guest. The two people who did the rock and roll documentary, Mr. Alex Gibney goes like this, you shan't see me again.
Oh, no.
And I go like this, let's not use the word shan't. Elliot, you're on the Bennington Show.
Hello, this is Elliot Alderson, and I want to let you know how easy it was to hack into Chris Stanley's account. He used the password Marlboro Reds Rule.
Well, they do.
Do you even have your password now? Could you actually get into that account?
No, I can't. I don't have, because trying to get into it, you just get, like, it won't let you.
You would have to have the password. Do you have the password?
I put the password in and it doesn't work.
That means that person got the password and then changed the password. That's what usually someone does when they take over an account.
Well, you have the email. Can't you use it like the regular online thing where you go,
Like reset?
Yeah.
I did, and then it didn't go to my email.
Which means
reset.
They probably changed the email that's associated with the account
Dude,
as well.
They are more you than you.
Yeah, that's true.
Feel my identity slipping away into this Facebook account.
Just wait till they get your social security number.
They don't want that.
I honestly feel like the air just kicked on.
Vito,
Does
did you
anybody
do
else
something?
feel that?
Yeah, I can feel it now. For sure. It's easier to feel like towards me. This room gets hot to cool this as you go around.
Vito, call IT and tell them that I just dropped in to see what condition my air conditioner was in. And then just put an LOL, smiley face, or that face that the tears are just coming out the side, which doesn't mean sadness. It means extreme happiness. You did it, Vito. You did what Chris Stanley couldn't do over the past 7 years. You got an air conditioner turned on. Who else could it be? Who else could be the culprit?
Who else is good with, that kind of stuff? Who else is tech savvy that we know?
How tech savvy do you got to be to take an idiot's fucking password?
Maybe it is. Maybe it's someone who you trust, someone that's close to you.
Looks like Bronx Giant just started following me, so that's always a fucking possibility.
Is he tech savvy?
I know he has a Facebook account.
Okay,
that's all we need to know in this day and age.
He's the expert. He's got a Facebook.
He's on there
account
with computers and stuff. He's good with it. He's a genius.
You talk to Disco Dan a little too much.
Would you have given him a clue into what your password would be, like what your Bosco is, let's say?
Seinfeld reference. That's the coolest. He's got to be careful. He can't be out there gossiping around anyway. We don't even see him anymore.
He does have to keep his nose.
We've seen him one day since what's been called the Troubles.
He did mention wanting to come back sometime to me. He said maybe in a few weeks I can come on and promote my new political podcast.
He has a political podcast?
He just started a political podcast.
What's it called? I Met Bernie Sanders?
I have not met any other employee here who has more demerits than he does.
Oh, there's one. Fucking that little crazy kid.
Oh, yeah.
Fugitive.
Does he still work here?
I believe so.
Wow.
Untouchable.
That kid has blown up show after show after show.
They move him around like a kid touching priest.
He is a kid touching priest. In this case, the kid is touching the priest. That's the fucking swerve. That's the big twist. Blaine, what's up, buddy?
Hey, not much. How you guys doing today?
Cool.
I was going to mention it's pretty easy to get somebody's Facebook password by answering their security question. I know Chris's questions have got to be pretty easy. We could try to get this back.
I know the answer everything for him is cheese.
Exactly.
First pet, none.
Where'd you go to high school? Cheese.
What are you eating right now? Should be the question.
What's your favorite sports team? Cheese.
You're missing the point, Chris. It's not that you call everything cheese. It's that you eat a lot of cheese. Now, you take that rockabilly hair of yours and start to focus. Are you tired from putting together everything for the show next week? Because you seem a little wired today.
I definitely feel wired, yeah.
You didn't have a Red Bull or something, because
I had a Red Bull. I was here early, so I had a Red Bull. Just
see, I can always guess, usually, because he gets a weird energy about him. He's not normally caffeinated in that manner, so when he does do it...
He also hasn't followed one fucking line today, you know? There's another Chris Stanley out there. No, Chris, there isn't. My favorite sports team is cheese, right, guys? No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about eating cheese, not calling everything cheese. One would be funny because the guy's always eating cheese.
Yeah.
The other, madness. Complete and utter madness. Vito, why are you dressed like you're going to log rolling after this? You look like Brawny, the paper towel guy.
You do.
It's just flannel season, guys.
I know, but you've got the full look.
And we've known you many seasons, and you've never fallen into flannel season as if it was something that had to happen.
You look like you drink maple syrup.
He does.
And I wasn't talking about the shirt, I meant his weight.
Fuck.
It's a nice shirt, though. I mean, like, I've been losing a little weight, so I decided to get myself a nice new shirt.
He goes,
I don't know.
A little. You pound every now and then.
Oh, God bless you, kid. God bless you. I don't even know what some of these stories mean at all today. Is there a big story that everybody's talking about? Because I know we got a lot of guests coming in, so we're not going to be able to bring stuff up.
Disney is announcing that they're going to buy most of Fox's movie, their movie studios, and then Fox is just going to focus on sports and politics, and that's going to be the Fox brand now.
They're going to sell FX?
They're going to sell FX and the movie, like 21st Century Fox, like the movie studio.
Right. I understood that immediately. But then I'm like, their other TV, they're going to sell Fox Broadcasting that has The Simpsons?
Yes. And they're just going to focus on Fox News.
Let's play with this for a second. Yes, you told me the other part. If they end up if Disney owns Bart Simpson and the Simpsons characters, that'll be another fucking land. Right there, it'll be Simpsons land.
oh my God, you're right.
Because
They make everything a land.
they make everything a land now, and they own everything that could be a land.
So that's what that means. Like if they're selling that, they will own everything, like all the shows that are on Fox and everything.
Well, I don't know whether what the deal is with Matt Groening, but they will be the distributor of The Simpsons. And you saw what they've done with Marvel. Suddenly that becomes all these physical things in real life. I mean, at what point are we going to say to ourselves, hey, that Disney's getting kind of big? Is it too big? Chris, you're going down there for Christmas this year, right? For 2 straight weeks.
That seems like that's going to happen, yeah.
Either you or the Facebook Chris, I now call him, who I believe your girlfriend is following.
Oh, what the fuck?
And he's sending her dick pics.
She's like, this doesn't seem right. It's a decent size.
What, did you change the angle or something?
Why don't they want to own Fox News? Why doesn't Disney want to?
Fox wants to just hold on to Fox News, Fox Business, and Fox Sports. So Fox is willing to sell everything else off outside of those properties.
Well, it's the Murdoch family. You got Rupert, who put this whole thing together, starting with one Australian newspaper. And now it's an empire. But he's 90. And let's face it, those kids. I mean, how do you say to a kid, by the way, you're going to grow up and take over an empire? You know what I mean? It's not an easy thing to do.
I don't want to.
Especially with no one I mean, their biggest problem is Fox News as far as the people who think that the kids are douchebags.
Right.
And I don't know whether they are or not. I'm going to be totally honest. I know nothing about those kids. I just know that I wouldn't want my dad to say, oh, I'm going to be dead soon, so I want you to have this grueling fucking job that deals with marketing and fucking
Can I do something
economics.
else?
Yeah, and you're just like, we already have enough money.
Yeah. Can I just paint?
Yeah. I want to smoke weed next to a pool every day. I'm a rich kid. I don't want to do your job. You haven't been home for one holiday my entire life. Now you want that to be my life? No, it's too much. Let's start and sell some of this shit. I got a band, a 3-piece band that plays what I'm now calling prog grunge. Okay, It's Emerson, Lake, and Nirvana is our sound. I thought that was going to be a big laugh for everybody, but it just went over all of our heads. Then again, Chris is on Red Bull, so he's 3 jokes ahead of me, no matter where I'm going. Yeah, I'm not interested in this story, to tell you the truth, because we don't have enough information. We don't know whether it's a good move or a bad move. I don't know whether it's good for Disney or good for the Murdoch family.
What else is a Fox show? It was American Idol Fox?
It was. It no longer is.
Okay.
But now it's ABC, which is owned by Disney.
So it's Disney no
That
matter
has
what.
nothing to do with any of this. You guys have gotten us off the track. This isn't about who owns American Idol. Okay?
Sorry.
Give me another story. Vito, why don't you give me one? It seems like you've done a little prep today.
Sia leaked her own.
See you, buddy. Take care.
Sia leaked her own
See ya.
nude photos today.
Take care.
The singer Sia.
See ya. See you later.
No, she's a singer. Her name is Sia. She sings Chandelier.
I don't know that song. Is it good?
It's a pretty good
great.
song. She leaked her own nude photo because the paparazzi got a hang on it. So
Got a
she
hang
leaked
on
it her handle on it. They got the picture.
So
and
they were shopping it around, and so rather than wait for someone to buy it, she leaked it herself and said, "Save your money. Here it is for free."
It looks like she was just walking around naked in her own backyard.
Yeah, she's on a balcony there, and it looks like she just like it's just like got something on her balcony nude, and somebody was hiding in the bushes, snapped a photo of her nude butt.
But who would be on their own balcony nude if they were already a celebrity? You know what I mean? Like, I could say no one gives a fuck around. You walk out on your balcony nude. But if you're a celebrity, why would you do it? Unless you wanted that picture out there to begin with.
I don't know. I feel like maybe because she's not Madonna, she wasn't thinking people were
Dude,
going to
I don't care if you're the fucking weather girl in Iowa City. You know what I mean? People are going to want to see you nude. You don't have to be Madonna before you get to that point. And there's no tan line there at all, so that ass has been out quite a while nude. Either that or it's her first day nude. I can't tell.
And that's just her natural tone.
Grab me Jen on this one. This is more of a dish story.
Jen, please dish.
Or not. Hey, why don't we take a break here? We'll be right back. This is the Bennington Show. The Bennington Show, Tuesday, up on the iBank today. 30 shows to do and see at the New York Comedy Fest. That is starting today. Brian Regan, Big J. Ogerson, Jim Norton, Samantha Bee. A lot of shows to see. And these are just the top 30. Ari Shafir's renamed storytelling show is going to be at Union Hall. He never tells you who is going to be there, but those things are always great. Tom Segura in town.
Nice.
The screening, which has been banned in Chicago, Everybody Has an Andy Dick Story. That got banned by the Comedy Festival then, and then I believe picked up by another room. The Search Party Season 2 brunch. Remember Search Party last year?
Love it.
One of my favorite shows.
I didn't realize that season 2 was started. It hasn't started yet, right? It's coming up.
No, they're doing a big brunch to launch it. And remember last year when they did it, they just put it all out at the same time.
One of the guys from that show is on Stranger Things season 2, and I was very excited.
Sure. His life is taken off. You kidding me? You know what? I was watching it. I watched it last night. Season 1 of Bored to Death. That is a show that should have been on for 40 years.
I should go back and rewatch that all the way through because I remember really enjoying it.
It makes you realize that the hipster thing is gone. No one brings up hipster because the hipster thing has moved so mainstream that you take dude bros like Vito and look what he's wearing. He's dressed by what we would have called a hipster fucking 7 years ago.
Beard and flannel.
Yeah. Now it's just like, seasonal stuff, bro. But it isn't. Everybody was going crazy because people were dressed like that.
Well, then, I think the whole hipster thing got so nitpicky when they started to say, it was specific to food items. They're like, hipster avocados. And you're like, how could avocados be
all
hipster?
farm to table was like a hipster thing. So anything that was fresh and delicious, they're like, you fucking hipsters. And anytime that coffee was expensive, it got blamed on the hipsters. But now you watch the baseball game and, the guys have these enormous, what would have been called hipster beards.
Yeah.
But it's not hipster anymore. Here's another thing I like to get to the bottom of. The only time that you see long dreads now, the guy's a football player, specifically a fast football player.
Yeah.
It's either a running back, wide receiver, a defensive back. But you never walk down the street and run into black dudes that have these long, crazy dreads.
You're right. But it is really common in football because I always notice it because it makes me nervous because it makes me feel for some reason that their helmet is going to come off or it's going to cause some sort of neck injury.
Well, I have seen those things get ripped out during the game. Somebody who just is grabbing.
Oh.
And, you know, particularly when you have a dread because it's heavy here, but it doesn't go into the head as a dread. It comes out as you know, just your regular hair. And you have like about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch of just like anybody else's scalp. But imagine all the heaviness into it. So if you reach up and grab one of those dreads, you can pull it out pretty easy.
I never thought about that they have like extra digits that are now exposed.
Yes. But the hipster as a way of life, it's not that it's gone away. It's just mainstreamed out so much that it no longer matters.
Yeah, it was like hipster. I thought it was like hipster music and hipster style were kind of like the first. And then it became just like hipster way of life. Like just the things that you do and the places you go.
Right.
And now all of them, I think.
Well, if you wanted to ride a bicycle with a really giant front wheel.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Steampunk always seemed very hipsterish to me because they would kind of dress steampunk at night. But remember, even for a while, there was like the hipster novel, and now they're just like, okay, nobody's reading, no matter who's writing it.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter what it is.
And hipster is kind of, I've always just thought it's relative to your position. So, like, someone would be like, that person's a hipster. But to that person, someone is more so. Like, you're saying, like, somebody, like, riding down the street in a unicycle. Somebody who's just, like, has a beard and a flannel shirt is going to be like, that guy's a hipster. You know what I mean?
Right. Well,
so,
all the young, any beefy comic has a giant beard now. And none of them consider themselves hipsters. They just consider themselves regular guys.
Just regular dudes.
And yet, they're all called by the same name. No matter who you are, you're Dan St. Germain. You're not going to get around it. But I've seen those guys get called, or, you know what I mean? They're like brought up like, hey, I caught you the other night at that place. And they're like, that wasn't me, man.
It was some other person.
How can you not tell two guys with enormous and big barrel chests apart? You can't do it. No, hipster's just regular now.
I remember one time I was on the train, and normally anytime someone points something out as hipster, I would be like, come on, dude, that's just irritating. Like, it's just somebody who's into something different than you gets called that. But I remember once I was on the train, and I literally saw a guy who, instead of a bag or a backpack, fashioned himself a bindle staff where he had his stuff in a stick with a handkerchief holding his stuff, and then he had a couple books that was on like the old-timey leather strap.
It's actually very funny.
And I was like, and on top of that, you had headphones in with his smartphone, and I was like, you are taking this so far.
But why was that kind of throwback stuff hipster?
I don't know. Like, it was considered a situation, people who are into anything vintage. So like collecting records would be considered hipster because there's an interest in vintage type things.
But the weird thing was, just a few years before that would have been considered suburban. You know what I mean? Like, suburban dads were always like, oh, I found an old jukebox. Mm-hmm. And there was nothing hip about that. Why did that become hipster? Why did craft beer become hipster? Again, people used to make fun of people like, oh, he can't have a nice Pabst. He's got to have his hipster beer. And now everyone's like, yeah, I only drink this beer. It's from my block. No matter where I live. Only 12 of us are drinking this beer.
It's a nonprofit.
Yeah, everything. Everything now. Well, Chris used to make fun of hipsters. Yes. Now, dad shirts, the beard, and he lays in Brooklyn at least half of his life. And he used to make fun of Brooklyn.
And brunches in Brooklyn, which a lot of people consider, I don't know why it's considered a hipster activity. I think everyone enjoys brunch, but for some reason it
certainly used to be the suburban mom and dad thing to do. And now it's a hipster thing. But what do you drink, Chris?
Bellinis. I'll have a Bellini.
That's he's hipster.
That's pretty.
He's hipster.
Oh my God. I like that you drink Bellinis too, because that's also just like, I imagine you with a dainty flute too, because they're served in a flute.
I don't like that it comes in a flute. I don't see why they can't put it in a pint glass. But yeah, I just daintily drink my Bellini out of the flute.
Why don't you have a cocktail?
I feel because like Bellinis are usually on special in the actual like the brunch menu.
That's something a hipster would care about. That's something a hipster. Does this drink match this food? It's just done. They won. They won the cultural war. The war that they acted like they didn't even know what was going on, but people just adapted to them.
Yes.
And now that you see any restaurant just looks like fucking Brooklyn now, no matter where you go. Why? The hipster thing.
Yep.
And all light bulbs are Edison bulbs now. I was in a place with an Edison bulb chandelier. It's fucking crazy.
Why don't you get a picture of that for your fucking Facebook?
Because I can't get into that Facebook. I don't even want to get into it. It's sat unused for years.
It's used now.
By the way, hipsters should try to bring back CompuServe. That would be really cool.
It's so throwback.
I'd like to bring back eWorld, personally.
You only had one summer of eWorld, but you were very obsessed with it.
Really enjoyed it. Just because of the icons were so friendly and happy.
Now do you see that they have those icons on your group chat? So for your phone, you could. It's not Apple. It's the other one.
Oh.
But I was watching this commercial where everyone's head is moving.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Like
the robot head.
Yeah.
Everybody in your crew would have their own weird icon head.
Yes.
And you would act like that robot is talking to you. We are getting further and further away from real life all the time. They were also saying about like texting is bigger than phone calls. And it just seems to me like if you would have, it would have almost made more sense if back in the 30s they would have figured out how to send text before you would be able to have a human voice.
Right.
And one that you could recognize. Like it seems like you would go telegraph, text, and then one day the miracle of the telephone. You don't have to sit there and move your thumbs anymore. You'll be able to hear grandma wherever she is in the world. And yet we act like a text is better.
Yes. It's much more comfortable for some reason. And I don't know if other people are moving this direction or this is just me. So you know how a phone call or like snail mail being sent to you is just like, just send it to me some other way so I can get it immediately. I feel like email is starting to move in that category where I'm like, why didn't you send me that thing? And someone says, I emailed it to you. And you're like, why would you do it? Just send it right through the text. Now email somehow has gotten to a thing where it's like too formal, and that's the place where you get ads sent to you.
Yeah,
and
it
things
almost
can get
feels
last.
like it's done.
Yeah.
And you're right. I have missed, like Chris said, well, I've sent the update through email, and I'm like, I'm not going to fucking read that, Chris.
I'm way more likely to miss an email that someone sent me and accidentally delete it or put it with junk mail or it goes into the wrong folder than you ever would if someone sent a text.
It's interesting. I think the email thing might be coming to an end. Hey, Steve, what's up, buddy?
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Yeah, I agree with you, Gail. I never send emails to friends or family, anything like that anymore. It's all business. But I was wondering, y'all were talking about hipsters. Is there like a group of people in the city now that are like coming up that no one else knows about? You see, like dressed and they're doing certain things. Like, I guess the next hipster wave, is there like a crew?
Yeah, those things are kind of once in a generation. You know what I mean? If you think about it, it's like the beatnik into the hippie. That took a while. After that was probably like the yuppie, which we now refer to more as the dude bro. You know what I mean? But those culture things don't happen every year or every couple years. They just happen when they happen. Now, the youngest hipsters or the youngest millennials are turning, early 20s now. We're already into what's going to be called Generation Z, but that'll probably get a better name, hopefully. And those kids they haven't been out long enough. They're still just entering college now.
But if I were to guess what it would be, I think it's going to be a trend of gender neutral clothing and style and expression. Because that seems to be the way that they're leaning, is people of, high school age are the biggest that we've ever seen saying pansexual or bisexual, and now also feeling like not so into the label of gender. So I think if there's a way to possibly predict, I think it would be we're going to lean towards more genderless clothing.
And even more sensitive to bullying and stuff like that than we are now.
Yeah,
because,
almost
anybody, you could be judged by calling somebody she or her.
But I think that they're going to be almost more evolved on that. The current generation is knee jerk because it's in reaction to the way things used to be. And then it will just be treated as normal. You know what I mean? You're not going to get much outrage because it'll be so rare to be faced with racism, sexism, homophobia.
All right. So they're going to be more gender neutral. Mm-hmm. What else?
Pansexual, probably open-minded on race, probably more so with interracial dating as well.
But what's going to freak us out about them? I mean, the pansexual thing will freak out their parents, but are they going to make any other moves that are going to shock us?
Maybe more, there always tends to be a body modification that the next wave is not, the previous wave is okay, we didn't do that. You know what I mean?
So they're not going to tat up. They're not going to.
Yeah, they're going to be on some other shit. Having long hair, and the generation before that being how could a boy have long hair? And then the next generation being we tattoo or we pierce our nose.
Yeah.
They're going to be on some new shit that people who are of this generation are going to go, why would you do that to your body? That's insane.
All right,
that's
so
how it always
here's
goes.
how I think they're going to do their body modification with technology. So it'll be early stages clone stuff, right?
Okay.
So they'll put stuff that will connect them more, their GPS might be in their body somewhere.
And probably avatar based, where it's look, this is how I identify. Yeah. I have a bunny head and I'm kind of an orb. You know what I mean? They might have some sort of identity that they live in that world, and that's
VR world.
Yes.
Yeah, the VR world will eventually replace, and that VR world, right? Why would you even need Facebook or Twitter in that world? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that thing might really change stuff for everyone. If everyone wants to live in that more than here, it'll be great for me. I'd much rather have reality to myself and have the other people just sitting around in a fucking world that I don't even know where it is.
They're plugged in.
Brian in Georgia.
Hey, what's up, Ronnie?
Hey.
So the one thing that's weird to me, well, not weird, but just interesting with the hipster movement is, as opposed to some other counterculture things that we've seen in the past, there hasn't been any violent pushback for hipsters with mainstream adopting all their stuff. I felt like other counterculture movements were more aggressive in protecting the identity of it before it went mainstream, whereas
do you think
maybe that's just being a hipster. I don't know.
Yeah, but do you think hippies were that way? Once that became adopted by, the suburbs, where the style became adopted but not necessarily the politics, do you think that they responded to that?
Anything for the hippies, I don't know. I wasn't alive for that one, so I can't really talk. But for the grunge movement, let's say in the 90s, I felt like more people were no, we don't want mainstream to be a part of that, and we're sort of.
See, I think the difference from the hipster thing is the hipsters kind of set out to mainstream since the beginning, since they were all into online branding and stuff like that. They would work you would just start a little cheese shop, but you would work very hard about the way that was branded online and what it looked like. The craft beer stuff always looks great because they design it. So I think that the idea of selling out was always with it right from the beginning. Like, we can start this community here, but our shit gets sold to the entire world.
And if you think about the sensibility we were just talking about, like inclusivity being important,
right?
They're like, they might just already just have the more the merrier idea about things, whereas having something be exclusive maybe less so important.
No, if you even want like farm to table, they were looking to grow that right away, and any kind of technology they all look to grow right away because they thought, because they have the idea we're going to save the world, as if the world is already heading in the wrong direction. But the fact that you could take this Italian kid from the Upper West Side and now he dresses like them, but doesn't even know it. You know what I mean? He doesn't realize that he has. Now look at him a couple years ago, and he was very driven by the hip hop thing. He doesn't know how he got here. He doesn't know how he assimilated. And that's what's interesting. The stuff that he, like, to me, the most fascinating thing that he said is, hey guys, it's seasonal. Seasonal stuff. We gotta do it. Dude. Look at me. It's the Bennington Show. A lot of guests popping up here. And it's all because it's this New York City Comedy Fest, which has become giant, except for the fact that the city is so giant, it doesn't have the same impact on some places.
You don't feel it as much, I think, as you would in Austin or Montreal, where it feels so like it takes over.
But in New York, it's got to be 2-3 times bigger than it was 2-3 years ago. It's just jumping up all the time.
Too. Like it seems like there are more shows, more venues involved. It's just,
and they have a hub now. At the hotel downtown. And Robert Kelly is going to be doing his podcast out of there. Anything you want to know about what's going on with that, the iBang has all the shows that you want to see and do. Seeing Brian Regan at comedy at Carnegie Hall, or Jim Norton's show at Town Hall. That all sounds really, really fun, man. Lisa Traeger is doing a Sex in the City trivia night.
Oh, nice.
Now, she's supposed to be this almost radical feminist. And wasn't Sex in the City almost anti-feminism?
I thought it was pro. I actually never watched the show, but I thought it was like about women kind of like taking charge of their sexuality and dating and not being. It was like very anti-slut shamey, I think.
I thought it was just about shopping and blowjobs, which would have been a great name for that show.
Yeah, but I never got into it. But there is a whole generation of people who are like, oh my God, you are such a Samantha. And I don't know what that means.
I will tell you this, and I learned this from Steve Harvey, and I do think it's true. Ladies love chopping. Hey, out there. Your young lady friend, your special lady friend, is she a big shopper?
No, I've never seen her shop at a store. Outside of
Wait, like even a grocery store?
We've been to a grocery store.
What do you guys do for food?
We usually go out.
Of course you do, hipster.
She's not a cook. She's not.
She prefers just to go out.
Kane in Texas, what's up?
What's up, cousins?
Hey.
Hey, so I always understood like a hipster or a scenester was somebody who did something just because it was hip or it was like the place to be. So if everybody's doing it, is it still a hipster?
No, I don't think we use that phrase hipster at all anymore because, like you said, everybody is now doing it.
Right.
No matter who.
And it was used as, at the time when people were using it negatively, it was this idea of like, oh, you think you're hipper than me. Like the idea is these people were walking around acting like they're so cool. And that's how I felt like people were using it.
Yeah. I remember when people would say to me, you think you're too hip for the room? And I go, well, this fucking room. I'm not saying every room, but this fucking place. Yeah, I am too hip for this room. Because people would always, but people are always annoyed with young people. And I don't know why fucking being attracted to the right books, the right movies, the right food, the right party, the right bands. Why does that annoy other people?
It really, really does. It bothers the hell out of people.
Yeah.
Like, I notice people don't even like it if people talk about music that someone else is unfamiliar with. Instead of going, oh, cool, he has like a lot of suggestions about bands I hadn't heard of. Interesting. People are like, who the fuck does this guy think he is? He's like dropping these things. People hate when somebody references music they don't know.
Right. But that has always been around. There's always been, even back in the old days, people would go, why do you want to buy Journey? Come over here. It's Talking Heads. They would do that at a fucking record store. You know what I mean? They would say to you, dude, you don't want to fucking do that, man. Not at your age. Here's some Elvis
I love that
Costello.
shit.
There's a Ramon walking past us right now. Talk about too hip for the room. What's that squeak? Is that your shoes?
Oh, is that my shoe?
Hey, Joey, what's up?
Hey, Gail, don't take this personally, but I always considered you a hipster. A couple times I met you, your hairstyle, your clothes, your music, like you just said, the movies you like.
Yeah, what is
you live in
hipsters?
Brooklyn.
Yeah, hipster is a relative term. There's going to be, to you, I'm a hipster. To me, it's the guy with a bindle staff. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
It's always going to be like.
But no one ever calls themselves a hipster.
No, I've
Unless
never.
you're a child.
Yeah, maybe like
Me
a
and
little.
my friend are hipsters.
I'm kind of thinking about becoming a hipster this year at school. What do you guys think? Last year I was a jock, but this year I'm going to be a hipster.
Now, I was just reading the other day, and this is something that I thought might have taken generations for it to happen, but it looks like what we were saying just not too long ago, sports is the biggest thing, the biggest moneymaker. And now the NFL, for the first time, is seeing dipping numbers. And it's not for any one reason.
Yeah.
It's probably more recognizable because people are jumping on, they kneel. But even before that, I think fantasy football had turned people off. Prices have turned people off. The fact that you can't watch the old game because people are dying from it, and the new game doesn't matter as much to people.
And I could be wrong about this because obviously I'm not going to know a lot about football packages, but it seems like a lot of them tend to be like all or nothing too. You know what I mean? Like either you're committing to something that is, you're getting all the games and all this stuff. Like there aren't really packages where you can like pick a team or two, right?
No, there isn't that because, and that would make sense today. But now those packages don't even make much sense because you could get the same game for free. A couple of years ago, I would try to watch an Eagles game online and I'm like, I'm not going to fucking buffer through this. Fuck it. And now, I'm at the race the other day. My phone looks better than my fucking TV looked, let's say 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's really weird. There are a ton of really good streamable.
And you know why? That fucking Silicon Valley TV show, it was always about this thing.
Yeah.
What's the word? It's something compression. Yeah, it was always about that. Here is Madison. Madison, what's up?
Okay, so you know how you're talking about how like people are so annoyed when people know everything about like music or whatever?
Yeah.
So I found it annoying like when hipsters, they know everything about a beer or whatever and they're talking to you like, I can't believe you don't know. It's more like they're judgmental about it. So that's why it's so annoying.
Well, the thing that you find out is everybody in this country is judgmental about everything now. If you have, if you're a liberal and you hear a conservative person, you never are like, what can I learn from this? And vice versa. Conservative people don't go, well, what exactly is bother. The gun debates are the perfect way of pointing that out. That people don't want to find out, hey, can we find a solution? They'd rather start fighting. So in the same way that you're saying the hipsters are judgmental, I kind of feel like the fucking big cartoon superhero people are the same way. I mean, they move in a pack.
What?
Yeah. The mainstream people move in a pack. And like when they all decided to hate George Lucas after years of defending him, or all deciding it's a good idea that Disney is now running the Star Wars universe. Everybody is judgmental. And you live where, in Georgia?
Yeah.
So how would you describe yourself? What's your social place in the world?
Lone wolf.
Oh, I love that. She's a lone wolf, like a shooter. You know what I mean? Like,
do we have to report this?
Yeah, I like to report any weirdos now. They tell us, watch out for weird people. That's really comfortable.
With the weird OCD that you like, so.
Yeah, I dig. Madison, pretty good prize closet for you, my friend. Enjoy yourself. Give her something hipster. Here is Matt. Matt, what's up?
Hey, Bennington. Great show. I'm calling about the NFL issue. You guys were talking about hipsters. It's kind of, I compare hipsters to Disney adult freaks that, it's kind of a sidebar conversation, but they're the same type of people. They're just kind of an oddity in and of themselves. But anyways, on the NFL and NASCAR, Major League Baseball, I think all of them have lost their key demographic. And, it's no longer enjoyable because you watch NASCAR for the wrecks, watch the NFL for the major hits. It's just not the same anymore.
The fact that they safened up both of those sports hurts the sport, right?
Exactly. Yes.
It's very interesting because they thought to themselves, well, nobody wants to see their heroes get hurt. And you don't really want that, but at the same time, you don't want a safe sport.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the sport in general is like, if you really think about it, or you're physically there, it could be like pretty nauseating how aggressive and
but I also think that's the reason why we have sports, for this letting off steam,
right?
The fact that we're not all that nice,
right,
of a fucking species, where you could go to, and it's going to happen with Ultimate Fighting too. You're not, as you see these guys get older and what the sport did to them, they're going to be forced into, hey, how can we make this sport safer? It's just, it's a natural thing. But I never would have thought, NASCAR, they were always bragging about the fastest growing sport and the most loyal people, and that's fallen off. And the NFL was free from any kind of decline. And look at it now.
Judah Friedlander is here, and Judah's new special, Judah Friedlander, America is the Greatest Country in the United States, is available now on Netflix, and will be performing at the Village Underground Tuesday, November 28th, ComedySeller.com for tickets, and the Improv in Washington, D.C., December 21st to the 23rd, DCImprov.com. Judah Friedlander's coming into the studio. Judah Friedlander's in studio. Judah's new special, Judah Friedlander, America is the Greatest Country in the United States, is available now on Netflix, and will be performing at the Village Underground Tuesday, November 28th at 8 p.m., ComedySeller.com for tickets, and will be performing at the Improv in Washington, D.C., December 21st through the 23rd, DCImprov.com for tickets.
Good to see you, pal.
It's great to see you.
How's it feel to have the special out there now after working on it for so long?
Feels a little weird.
Yeah.
Because now when I'm doing shows, there's, a lot of material I've been doing recently, and now I'm kind of not doing any of it. So
yeah, right.
I'm, working on new material as well as, thematically, I'm playing around with doing some of the same themes, like still doing the, I've done it on some shows, not most shows, where I still talk about how I'm going to be the next president.
Right.
And I ask for, questions, but I'm coming up with, all new jokes and answers. So, I'm playing around with that. Yeah. But for right now, like when I'm touring, it's all stuff that's not on the special. So
I was watching the 60 Minutes about a couple months ago, and the guy, he's an ex-spy and he writes books, and he's an older guy and he's all by himself up in England on the sea. And he says that when he's the guy who wrote Tinker Tailor and all those books, but when he finishes one, he says he's so depressed until he finds the next thing to light him up. And that's really true of any kind of creativity. You don't realize how much of what we do just to keep ourselves in balance.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm not depressed or anything, but it's like I need to. It's weird because I'm in a weird place where I'm still trying to find a place to live, and I'm working on new stuff, and I'm also trying to promote the special. So it's I'm trying to find the balance to do all that. Yeah.
And you're actually in hotels now, right?
Yeah, I'm at a hotel which is next to a metal factory, a cement factory, and a wood chip factory, and the hotel used to be a feather factory.
That sounds beautiful.
Before it's not a feather factory anymore.
Yeah.
So I just feel bad for the birds. They can't get their feathers from there anymore. That's where they used to get all their feathers.
They used to go grab feathers.
Birds still come in once in a while looking for feathers, and they're like, nah, it's not a feather factory anymore. You gotta go somewhere else. So, and it's right across the street from the train tracks. So I'm gonna post a little video of the view from my room later today, because it's I picked the room that's directly across the street from about 10 train tracks, because that's actually better than the ones that are next to the cement and wood chip factory.
Can we get something that overlooks the tracks? Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, that's actually what I said. Yeah, I need a room high up that overlooks the tracks. They're like, okay, and they're really nice, and they do it. So it's been good. Yeah.
Chris, what was that Queens movie that had it was like where all the trains come out of the hole over in Queens?
Guide to Recognizing Your Saints?
No. This was something else, but
Queen's Logic?
Yeah, I think it might have been one of those.
Kevin Bacon?
But yeah, when you just see what those tracks start to look like over there, you're like, oh, this is much more sophisticated than I thought.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like veins.
Yeah. Yes. There's tons and tons of tracks over there. Yes.
That's creepy when you think that's what we're standing on top of all the time, too. If you just think of the veins of the city underneath us.
Oh, it's insane.
Or if your train starts to go express and you realize, we've just gone much deeper than we were before. How tiered everything is, it's pretty creepy.
That is true. When you go out to what used to be Old Shea and you leave in Midtown, you feel yourself going way down for a long time. You're like, I think this is further down. I don't know why.
Yeah, some of them are deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know why. Yeah.
Like Lexington Avenue, Roosevelt Island, because the trains go under the river just around that time. When you leave the station, you're going at like 5 escalators up, and you're like, whoa. You don't really realize how deep you've been under.
But here's New York City. It's literally the bedrock that makes all the... you wouldn't have the trains, and you wouldn't have the giant buildings.
Yeah.
Except for this is just the rock.
Right. It's just all granite.
Yeah, so they're able to do that.
Manhattan's mostly rock, you're saying?
Yeah.
I'm going to write this down. I didn't know that. See, I always like learning facts. I didn't know that Manhattan was mostly rock.
This will be the new special.
Yeah.
It's
just all about the geology of Manhattan.
But there was this, because they built this giant building out in San Francisco, and it's sinking and going to one side.
Yeah.
That's so creepy.
And it's one of these brand new, fancy, expensive condo buildings. So everyone's leaving. Right?
Everyone is leaving and selling their houses at half the price that they thought that they would get for it.
How much are we talking sinking?
14 inches.
Oh my God! Yeah.
And it's leaning 14 inches. I think it's sunk 23 inches. But a guy up there, and these were the early Google guys who own this thing, just a gay couple that likes everything to be perfect, but they're 60. They took a marble and put it on the floor, and it rolled and then rolled back the other way. And they just went, get out of the house. They didn't take the furniture.
That's scary.
Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you, I've looked at some of the new buildings in the city.
Yeah.
I've been looking at old buildings, new buildings, and the new ones, they tout it like, it's got a gym, it's got a pool, it's, it's got some fancy roof, but it's like they're really cheaply made for the most part. I mean, they do have cement between the floors, so that's good. You're probably not going to hear the neighbors, below you or above you, but I mean, they're almost all glass. They have these floor-to-ceiling glass windows, and I think glass, it's one piece, so that's faster to make than brick. Brick, you gotta lay in each one, and most of the windows they're like 12 feet high, but you can't open them. They're just it's it sucks that you can't. There's no fresh air.
There's never any fresh air, and
the regular window's been working for centuries.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they'll have this giant 12-foot by 12-foot window, and then they'll have 1 foot of it where you can like crank it open, like 2 inches,
like a mail slot,
right? But there's no screen. There's no screen, so bugs might come in. So it's just so badly made. Yeah.
Do you ever see those old? They were like cages that they were sticking on the end of buildings because it's important for your baby to get fresh air. And so they started to install these cages, and then the family would just put the baby out in these cages that are just stuck on the side of buildings. Chris, look for this online because the image of it is just so bizarre.
I definitely want to put a baby outside of this building here, though. But, the other thing about those glass things, they collect all the heat in the summer. So you've got to say, okay, this looks like a nice apartment. Let me come back in August and just make sure I want to live here.
And then you have to get 12-foot drapes. Wow, look at this. Yeah, the baby.
Wow, I've never seen this before.
So they said, even if you don't have outdoor space, it's important for the baby to get fresh air.
That's actually me.
So they stuck.
That's actually where I'm sleeping at the Feather Factory. I have a balcony suite. That's insane. That's
Chris,
so funny.
See if you could tweet out one of those two. For
These kids
reference.
look terrified.
It does not look safe.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
It's a good place to put the bad kid.
Yeah.
I know, it does seem like a punishment.
Yeah.
But look at it. It's not just one image. This was like a
look
trend.
At the other picture. There's a picture of like a 18-month-old just smoking cigarettes. It's like kids were tough back then, Kids are spoiled today.
Yeah. I don't know why I find that strangely cute. A kid smoking. There's something kind of adorable about it.
Yeah, sometimes you want to just, when you're 6 months old, you just want to smoke a cigarette and then just lay out in a cage.
There was
200 feet.
Remember that kid in the Philippines that they showed, like when YouTube started? It was a kid smoking, and he was just a little one, and everybody was so upset. But I'm like, that kid looks really cool.
He does look.
What I mean? There's a coolness to him.
He was very popular.
Because you know why? You normally don't see a confident-looking child, but there's a confidence to him.
There is. He looks like he's going to take care of it, no matter what's
He's
coming
like, don't
up.
worry about it.
Yeah, that's the problem. You're right. Kids today have no confidence. And smoking gives confidence.
It brings
Say what you
on.
want. Confidence and cancer. The yin and the yang of cigarettes. But it does give confidence. It really does.
Well, it helps you recognize who the cool kids are, too. I mean, he's a trendsetter. Look at him. He's a trendsetter.
Yeah, you don't want to be a baby and hanging out with nerds. You want to be with the cool bunch.
Those kids are planning a keg party later tonight. They're cool.
Judah Friedlander's in studio. Judah's new special, Judah Friedlander, America is the Greatest Country in the United States, is available now on Netflix, and Judah's performing at the Village Underground on Tuesday, November 28th at 8 p.m., ComedyCellar.com for tickets. And Judah's performing at the Improv in Washington, D.C., December 21st through December 23rd, DCimprov.com for tickets.
Wait, slow down. I want to write this down also.
You want to get it all.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. Thanks. Brushed it a little bit at the end there. Yeah. Thanks so much for the kind words on the special, man.
Dude, the special is so great. It was mind blowing.
It's
Thanks.
Fallout funny.
Yeah.
Like
Thanks so much.
insanely funny.
How are other comics reacting to this? Because they jumped through so many hoops to get a special made, and you were able to do it yourself.
Yeah, it's interesting. Most comics I'm not hearing anything from, which is kind of interesting. Most people and most staff just don't really say anything. So you're like, oh, okay, I guess, well, I don't know if maybe people don't know it's out, or maybe they know it's out, they're not saying anything. I don't know. So I've had some people say very nice things, which has been great. But I think most don't say anything. Yeah. It's sort of like just your. It's almost like if you run into someone that you haven't seen in 20 years, and then you say, "Oh my God, hey, good to see you," and they're like, "Oh hey," they act like you just saw them yesterday.
I know.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. You're like, so you're just a little confused. You're like, all right, yeah. So, but yeah.
It is funny though, as you get older, that it doesn't. It seems like you can go longer amounts of time, but still feel like you know that person. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like nothing has, like you don't even think their life has slightly changed in the 7 years since you saw them.
And then you're just like, hey, dude, what's up? So anyway, this crazy thing happened. Instead of being like...
You find out they're divorced, you can't believe it. Like, what happened? Well, this was like 8 years ago.
Yeah. They have like 4 kids. Yeah. And
I went through real trauma and didn't hear from you, but glad that you think I'm still in the same spot.
I have a bad habit of asking childhood friends how their pets are doing.
That's the toughest thing I've ever
They're
heard.
like, well, they've been dead for 12 years. Oh, right. Because they were a dog.
That's a rough one.
They were a dog. Exactly.
I'm really good at, like, when I haven't seen someone in a while, asking how their boyfriend or girlfriend is doing.
Right.
And they just had, not only did they just break up, apparently it was the nastiest breakup that everyone else knows every detail about, except I was completely clueless to it. So I just come off as, like, I intentionally was fucking with them. That's how it comes off. Yeah. like they really think I'm just being a jerk.
Right.
And I know, but I'm like, no, I don't fucking know. Yeah.
It would be a great thing to do, though, if you knew somebody went through a divorce and asked that.
Yeah, just troll them like that.
Like you're the worst person ever. But I was talking to Liz from the Underground, and we were talking about your special. She was also blown away because she saw you shooting it. She was describing like how long you would work on different angles that you knew would work, but she also didn't know what it was going to look like when it was done.
Right.
It was just hard to know.
Yeah,
seeing him do this, that it was going to come out as great as it looked.
And it looks fantastic.
Right.
It looks
I remember
great.
when I did your Unmasked, you were cracking me up because you were like, I see Jude with these little cameras, and I wish him the best, but I don't know, man. What's funny is I never thought of people viewing me that way. I figured they just figure, oh, here's crazy Jude with his cameras, but I don't know. I've seen things. I've done many different TV and movie things, and I've seen, in the U.S., people usually always just do thing one way.
Right.
It's the standard way they do it, and they bring in the big cameras, the big everything, and and they film from this angle, then they film from that angle, and different countries film in different ways. And, there's no one way to do anything. You just got to like find out what works, and so I tinkered for a while and figured out something that I felt works. So,
but were you frustrated on the way, or you were just this is the part of it?
More anxiety.
Yeah.
I had anxiety with how some things would turn out. With the sound, or with the just being able to get my the people to help me with the editing, because I made all the cuts. The editors I used, they didn't even see any of the movie while I was having to make the cuts. They only saw what they were cutting. So some days I would have one person in, and then a week later I'd have another person in, and I'd be saying, like, you're going to make a cut here, you're going to make a cut here. And they hadn't seen anything. I was so paranoid of material getting stolen or whatever.
Right.
So I didn't even show them the movie. Yeah. So then after, and so one of the women that was helping with the editing, after a while, I'm like, what, I think I can show this to her. She's been working on this for, a few weeks now. So, and I realized I was being kind of ridiculous about it. But I don't know. I'm just I'm so untrustworthy. I get really paranoid. So
has stuff happened
overly so
in the past that made you feel that way?
Oh, yeah, sure. Material getting stolen.
Yeah.
Throughout my whole life, it's like there's always people screwing you over, in one way or the other.
It is though. I was thinking as you were saying that the person who I see shoot the smallest movies ever are Woody Allen. Like you'll see other people's film sets or these giant things with trailer, and then I would see Woody Allen, and it was just a couple of cameras, and I'm like, is this real?
Yeah, you don't need. it's kind of weird how the Hollywood does it. They have so many more things that you don't really need. You know? So it's, I mean, even on TV studios, they still have those giant, when you watch like the news or something,
right?
You see these guys on these giant cameras, you know, it looks like a Segway that they're on.
You're riding it.
You know, and it's, you know, the camera machine, everything, it's like as tall as they are. It's like, you know, you have your phone, you know, your iPhone is pretty damn good. You know, I didn't film mine with an iPhone, but it's like the technology is so high now. I think for some of these, they get the bigger stuff just so that they can hire more people.
Right.
You know, it's like you don't need 4 18-wheelers to make a movie, you know,
and yet sometimes TV shows are even bigger than movie sets. A TV set can take up blocks.
That happens to me all the time where what used to seem like, oh, there's a movie being shot on my block or in my neighborhood. Now it's a TV show, and now instead of just that one block, it's like 4 or 5 blocks taken over and no parking on any of that. It's always TV shows, and they're super sprawling. Yeah, I don't know if they have
They'll
bigger...
have several 18-wheeler trucks, and some of them are equipment. And then, you know, they'll have a big trailer just for hair and makeup. They'll have one for wardrobe.
Yeah.
They'll have a couple for the actors.
And that'll be like 3 blocks away from where they're actually shooting. I saw The Deuce was shooting in my neighborhood. That's before I even knew what that show was. Yeah. I just was like, okay, there's a 70s show because everyone was dressed in like 70s.
By the way, Sherrod Small tells me he remembers when everyone called 42nd Street the Deuce.
He does?
Yeah, he said when he was younger, he called it the Deuce. And I go, I'd never heard anybody else say that.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, I'm not the best person to ask, but yeah.
That slang was there for the
How
Deuce.
was that show? I saw 5 minutes of it.
Anything that's the 70s, I'll watch. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's just...
I love old 70s, 80s New York stuff.
Me too,
I love
man.
that stuff. Yeah.
And I think that's probably like where most of the value, I would say, of the show is. Like, I wouldn't say...
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that otherwise exceptional, but it's watchable.
You ever see, I think Abel Ferrara did it. I think it came out in 83. It's called Fear City.
No,
It's kind of amazing and horrendous at the same time.
Yeah.
Tom Berenger and Jack Scalia play brothers, and they are the bookers. So they're like the manager bookers for all the strippers in Times Square. And Tom Berenger used to date Melanie Griffith, who's a heroin addict and who's also a stripper, but they're off now. Even though they still love each other, they're not dating. And he also used to be a boxer, but he quit because after one of his fights, his opponent died afterwards. So he couldn't take it. So then all of a sudden, strippers get slashed on the streets when they're walking from gig to gig by this like slasher guy, this crazy psycho white guy slasher guy. And he's also like a martial arts expert. And meanwhile, Billy D. Williams is like the detective, and he hates Tom Berenger and Jack Scalia. And he's always yelling all these like Italian slurs at them and stuff. And, I mean, it's not supposed to be funny, but it's so over the top. It's kind of funny, and his acting is kind of weird. But anyways, so then it builds to this giant conclusion where it's the ex-boxer versus the martial arts guy, you know, fighting for the strippers, and it's all filmed in Times Square in like early 80s, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, those days of going into Times Square would have felt like, well, I hope we are okay here today. You know what I mean? Like, I hope this all works out.
Yeah, and it was exciting, man.
Yeah, I remember once, it was very exciting, and I don't know why I fell in love with the city then, and I was crazy about it.
Yeah,
you know, just showing up.
The energy was insane.
The energy was phenomenal. But I remember I was with Gail's mom, and we were walking down Broadway. We make a right, maybe went 15 feet and started just backing up. We're like, oh, and it probably was like 49th and 8th. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But it was so edgy at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to high school in Hell's Kitchen, and there were people who lived in the neighborhood who had lived there a long time, and that was like their favorite thing to be like, you guys are all hanging out in the corner now, but like you can't imagine what this neighborhood looked like. And now I would say you go there and it's even less edgy than it was.
Oh yes, exactly. I mean, 15 years ago.
Because there still was some prostitutes, and there were still some like red lights in the window kind of situation. I don't think there's any of that now. I don't really think Not there.
No.
I don't know. I think it is in some places, but it's just so discreet.
Right.
But it's certainly Times Square. Nothing. I mean, it's it's families walking around at 2 a.m. now in Times Square.
Yeah.
A few years ago, I'd be out like 3 o'clock in the morning, and a woman, like there would be women on like SUVs, and they look like housewives, and they'd pull up and go, "Hey, is there anywhere to drink around here at a party?" And I'd always be like, "Oh yeah, there's a couple," and I would not know I was talking to a prostitute. And I'd be helpful.
I had that happen to me about 10 years ago.
Yeah,
I'm in my car. They pull up. They're like, "You want a date?" I'm like, first of all, no one ever hits on me. They're in a car. There's like 2 girls all dressed up. I'm like, something's up here. Yeah. And then one time, an old girlfriend of mine, she lived in Chelsea. This is probably 5 years ago. I'm dropping her off. This is around like 6th Ave in the 20s. And so we're just sitting in my car and just talking for like a half hour. And we keep seeing these like really tall, black women, but they could be guys.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. You're like over 6 foot, and they'll just keep, they'll walk out of the apartment building where she was living. This is one of these new buildings, these like luxury rental buildings. And they'll stand out there for about a minute, and car pulls up, they get in. And then another car pulls up, one of them gets out, and they go up into the room. And I'm like, I think there's a hooker thing going on in your building. And she did not handle it. She was just terrified. Right. And I'm like, yeah, I think, someone has an apartment or 2 in there, and they're using it as it's a pimped out apartment, so. It was interesting. Yeah.
When I was in college, I got asked if I was a prostitute. Like a guy came to me and thought I had to, first of all, and he said the way he did it like really quietly and was like, "Sorry, are you a pro?" And I was like, "A what?
Are you a pro?
Are you a pro?" And I was so pissed off. And here's to be fair, I was wearing a neon blue faux fur coat and high boots. And I get it. But it wasn't like I had my tits out. I just was wearing a loud coat. I was wearing a loud coat. And then I was on the Metro North, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me, dude?" And he was like, "Shh, I'm sorry. And he was like very Wall Street, very.
That's so.
And I was like, "Are you?" And he was like, "I'm sorry. Okay, well, I misunderstood." And I was like, "In the future, you will be approached. That's not how this works. You don't just go walking up to girls in loud coats and being like."
You should have also said prostitutes aren't as short as you are. It just doesn't happen. You don't have the height.
I don't have the height.
There's a height requirement. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah. Height requirements. Just like the modeling business.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a height requirement.
I can never make it.
Judah Friedlander's in studio. Judah's new special, Judah Friedlander, America is the Greatest Country in the United States. It's available now on Netflix. And he's performing at the Village Underground in New York City, Tuesday, November 28th, 8 p.m., ComedyCellar.com for tickets. And he'll also be performing at the Improv in Washington, D.C., December 21st through 23rd, DCImprov.com for tickets.
Now, out of all those Comedy Cellar rooms, the 3, which is your favorite to work?
It's hard to say. Yeah. It's between the Village Underground and the original Comedy Cellar room. Because, each crowd's a little different, and some nights I'm loving the Village Underground. I might do both rooms, the same night, and I'll be like, "Oh, Village Underground was awesome. The Cellar was good, but not quite as good," or vice versa. So it's really hard to say.
I love the history about that underground, though. The fact that
I don't know the history of the underground.
Oh, is that right? It was like, I think it used to be called Folk City or something back in the 60s, and it was one of those places that you could go and see Dylan or Roger McGuinn. And like, if you just look at that room, you're like, yeah, I could picture that, perfectly. Because I don't think they've touched much about it.
And that's the underground is that way?
Yeah, the underground was that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first time here. I've no idea. I know that Gnome's had it, the owner. He's had it, I don't know, 10, 15 years or something. And initially it was all music. And then the Comedy Cellar, it just kept getting busier and busier and busier. He started making that a room also.
When you started to work the Cellar, it wasn't the busy time though, right? When you first...
No. I remember Manny, the owner, having a meeting like during the day and inviting all the comics there. And we have a meeting like discussing like, all right, how can we make this place busier?
Yeah, yeah. Colin Quinn, do you have an idea? All these great comics
so literally, like, so all these comics are there, and so we're just there, sitting around, and Manny's talking, and so it was really weird, So often it was one show back then. It would start at 9, I believe, and it would go till 2, and sometimes if you went up at 12:30, you'd have the hottest moment. The crowd would be the busiest then. And people would just be walking in and out throughout the night. I think it was a $5 cover during the week then. And
who were the comics? Who were the regs?
Ray Romano would host sometimes.
So crazy.
Mike Sweeney, who's I think he's head writer at Conan for years. Yeah, hilarious. He was so funny and amazing crowd work. And then Mark Cohen would host some. Rick Fromm would host some. Mike Royce, who's a huge TV producer now. He would host some. Who else was there? Attell was there.
It's crazy.
Louis C.K., Mark Maron for a little bit.
And then you have
I'm forgetting so many people.
You have a lineup like that, and you're like, what can we do?
Yeah.
What can we do to get people here?
We had those discussions. And we're like, we just want to perform. We don't know how to. And this is pre-internet also. Yeah. So it wasn't like, besides walking around the street and posting flyers,
right?
There wasn't like social media to plug things.
And I don't know whether those flyers have ever worked. I don't know.
I don't know
looked
either.
At a telephone pole and thought, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go,
But there's something fun about putting up flyers. There's something
it is.
Like, we're like, we're going to do this.
And then you tear down other people's flyers as you're putting up your
I never
flyers.
did that. I was too guilty. I would think something like some bad karma would come back at me. So then I would just put up my flyers in the shittiest spots, basically. and I wouldn't put that many up. And I'd walk home with a shitload of unused flyers. Yeah, but some people are ruthless,
Yeah.
They'll put up one, and then they'll get that tape, and they'll wrap it around the pole like 4 times,
right.
But I didn't do that.
In the kind of glam late, hair metal days, all those bands on the Sunset Strip would just fight over flyers and flyer space because there was like 500 bands. Everyone thinks,
that many? Wow.
Yeah. It was just like any kid that had a band would drive out there anywhere in the country because they're like, we are as good as these guys and we have high hair.
Yeah.
Why aren't we as big as Poison? So it would just be bands going to see other bands. You know what I mean? And the girls and the girls that brought into the scene. Go ahead and plug away, Chris.
Judah Friedlander's in studio. His new special, Judah Friedlander, America is the Greatest Country in the United States. That's available now on Netflix. And you can see Judah at the Village Underground in New York City, Tuesday, November 28th, 8 p.m. ComedyCellar.com for tickets. And Judah's going to be performing at the Improv in Washington, D.C., December 21st through 23rd, DCimprov.com for tickets.
I'm so glad people are getting to see this because I saw it, even when Judah and I sat down to talk, that entire audience had not seen the special yet. And it's so different than any special that you ever...
Thanks, man. I think content-wise and visually, it's different in both.
It is absolutely different. Well, first of all, I never saw anybody work to the international audience before.
Right.
Which is kind of bizarre. People even called our show and he goes, how were those people there? And I'm like, this is what's happening at the Cellar now.
Right. Well, it's New York,
Yeah.
I mean, New York is, it's a big city and it's a tourist city.
Right.
So, I mean, I think, when many people come to New York, they'll go to a Broadway show and they go to the Comedy Cellar.
Right.
It's one of the places they hit up.
Well, I know if I was coming from out of town and I would have the opportunity to go and see something, like, it's one of the more New York experiences. At one time, there used to be saloons, or you would go to Elaine's and there would be a lot of great writers hanging out there. So you would just kind of be like, oh, this is... But now the Cellar is that place that you could see people drop in.
Yeah.
That you could never see in an intimate room.
Right. I mean, if you think about it, it's like, it's a small room. It seats about 100. And you'll have probably 6 headliners booked on one show. So you're seeing 6 headliners.
Right.
And probably at least half of them, sometimes all of them, are very well known.
Yeah.
And then sometimes... You also have, the biggest money-making comedians in the world coming in there, too. So you are getting an experience you're not going to get at other places.
Yeah, imagine how many people would go, oh, I was just in a little room and Jerry Seinfeld was there. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Well, then he's working too.
And it's $14 to get in on a weekday or whatever it is. It's not expensive.
Yeah.
So
I remember, and that used to be the feeling of New York when the whole reason to be in New York was to go out at night, right?
Yeah.
People wouldn't watch TV. They would go out every single night.
You are totally right about that.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that's changed some. A lot of New Yorkers are just happy to go home and stay in and watch TV. And that was never the case.
Never
this was a city where it's like, you don't do what people did in other parts of the country or the suburbs. Here, you work during the day and at night you go out, you do, experience all kind of things you can't experience other places.
Yeah.
But now it's changed. A lot of people, they just want to go home and watch their TV shows like many other places.
Well, yeah, because a lot of times people are exhausted now because you have to work harder in New York than you ever did
That's
before.
true, too. You got to work. Everyone's working at least 60 hours.
Yes, it's crazy. But when you think of, we were bringing up the 70s and the 80s, the fact that you could go see punk rock at CBGB's, and then you could also go to the Studio 54. That was happening at the same exact time.
Yeah.
And gallery shows were like a big thing. You don't even hear people talking about, there's a gallery opening tonight for because people used to love just to go out.
That's why
be part of
people who live in New York, it's important to force yourself, even if you are exhausted, it is the point of being here.
Right, exactly.
That you're like, at least once a week, I should go to a show. I should go to a screening. I should go to,
I need to start going to more art stuff because there are a lot of art galleries.
So much,
plenty of galleries.
And I hardly ever go. And I love going to see art, whether it's galleries or museums, I love it.
Galleries to me are so much more comfortable than a museum because a museum is almost overwhelming. There is so much art.
Right. And with a gallery, you can pop in. Like, you feel like you're like, okay, I'll go in, I'll spend a lot of time with each piece, and then I'll be done.
But what I like about the gallery is that one person's piece. You know what I mean? So you go around and you go like, okay, I get him now. But if you're sitting in a museum, sometimes you're like, there's too much. There's too
Museums
many.
are the Walmart of art.
Yeah.
Cool.
But there's Hockney is coming and bringing, you ever see those backyard, it's kind of that LA backyard thing that he did probably in the 60s, and there would be like naked people swimming in pools. I've been seeing these things like in magazines since I was a kid, and I can't believe I'm going to finally get a chance to see these paintings.
Who is it?
David Hockney. And then also there's Julian Schnabel is doing a gallery show where he's going back to those are those things. And he was the first person to paint water that way, where just those little lines give you the feeling of shimmering water.
Cool.
And I could not tell you why these paintings have haunted me my whole life. It's just crazy to me that I'm going to finally get to see those
that's cool.
things. Because, when you go and see a painting and it looks much rougher than that, like when you see things in a magazine. I never know the first time that, like, I saw Starry Night and stuff. I'm like, look how thick that is. He's just pushed that paint around.
Yeah.
But for years, if you're just seeing that picture in a magazine, it looks glossy.
Right.
Yeah. There's like a couple pieces like that in the city too, like, because they're so iconic that it takes you a second to be like, oh, that's really it.
Yeah, because I've seen it in school books.
I don't know why, but I felt that way when I saw what's his name, Wyeth, Christina's World.
Yes.
And I believe that's at MoMA, right?
Yes, it is.
And I saw the first time I stood in front of Christina's World, and I was like, took me a second to be like, oh, that's really it. I'm really looking at it.
Yeah.
And it was like chilled. It was kind of like...
it's actually more of a haunting picture than it looks. Like, it kind of looks like a sweet picture when you see it in a magazine.
She's actually just trying to get a Wi-Fi connection.
But like you do like, what is she doing? Is she in trouble?
Yeah.
Is she hiding from? Is there a murder
there's something
going on
really
in the house?
eerie about it.
Yeah, that's the great thing about physically being next to art, you see that it isn't all that precious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You see the grit of it.
And then also, like, look at, like, you could see that a million times in a book, and you'll never notice, like, blades of grass until you see, like, brush strokes, and you go, oh, shit, that's kind of intense.
But, yeah, going to a great gallery show, and they're always free, is one of my favorite things about New York. Well, when we went and saw the Basquiat paintings that time, and you get to see just like, well, that's pretty ugly. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty ugly stuff that he was doing. Like, if I was doing his stuff goes for $100 million. If I was doing it, I'd be like, I got to get a lot better at this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But he has that courage to put that shit out there.
There's a great quote of his that he had said to someone during an interview, like, no one will believe it, but I'm actually a really good painter.
Yeah.
Or like a really good drawer or something. Because like he's like, this is just my style, but I swear I can actually.
Right, I think he was. Yeah.
But he has a much better hand than you would think.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But he has the kind of that childlike kind of structure to all of his pieces.
It's always amazing to me, like, how many musicians and even actors paint. You know what I mean? But you don't ever get to see it because people are like, they're almost like embarrassed about that kind of art. You know what I mean? Like, they're embarrassed to show it.
Right. Or maybe it's also like if you do one art exceptionally and then another art as the thing that is like fun to you.
Right.
Or exciting. Then you're like, well, I don't want to put this out there because I don't want people to think I think I'm a great painter.
Right.
But
I think
it's
it's important to work in all different kinds of art mediums and stuff if you like it, because I think they can all benefit each other.
Yeah.
I think it also, like, you go to a different part in your brain too. You know what I mean? So that might go back. But McCartney paints every day. Bob Dylan paints every day. John Mellencamp paints every day.
I used to paint a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm not good at music. Yeah. That's where the similarities end. Yeah.
But you draw all the time.
I draw. Yeah. But I used to do painting some. There's something cathartic about painting.
I agree.
It's just it's the physicality of just, even when you draw on like a computer versus drawing on paper, feeling that pen and the ink on the paper and then with the paint, you just that physicality of it feels cool, man.
It does feel cool. And I remember I was in DC. I was living down there. I was kind of going through a stressful time, and we just started painting, and we started painting every single day. I started to feel great.
Where in DC were you?
Well, it was outside of Fairfax because I was working at WJFK.
Okay. Oh, cool.
And then I went in after doing this for like months and months and months. One day we were like, let's go down to one of the museums, and it was such a different experience because it seemed like all the paintings were exploding to me, right? And every brush stroke, I could now imagine it. And I was just looking at a painting and just kind of moving my hand. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it just sets you up different. It wakes you in a weird way.
Yeah, like for the same, too, like if you have some relationship to music, like if you don't, then you're like, a song is just like this, like one entity. You know what I mean? Like
that's what I'm like.
I feel like that's like
I have no connection.
You're like the song,
how
and then
music's done.
And then you hear someone who talks about it in like detail of like the way different. Oh, and then at this point this happens, and you're like, totally.
Yeah.
I like the hook. Like I like the part I sing along to.
I remember Steve Jordan he was bringing up like Satisfaction by the Stones. He was like, did you ever hear like it's just the acoustic is coming out of the right speaker? And he goes, I noticed that right away. I go, nope, to this day. You are telling me something. That either my ear just hears the whole thing as a whole, but I can't break it down. Like some people, like a chef, he could eat something and tell you what spices are in it.
Right.
And I'm just like, good. That's good. That's
yeah. The whole music thing's weird, because sometimes people get too pretentious with their music tastes. And I'm like, look, I have no pretension. It's like, I know a lot of things I like might be things that people think suck, but it's like, if I hear something, I like it. I'm not educated much about music.
But the thing is, sometimes you can't even help it. You're like, this thing touches me in a place that I don't even understand.
Yeah.
Judah Friedlander's in studio. Judah's new special. Judah Friedlander, America is the greatest country in the United States. That's available now on Netflix. And Judah will be performing at the Village Underground in New York City Tuesday, November 28th, 8 p.m. ComedyCellar.com for tickets. And Judah will also be at the Improv in Washington, D.C., December 21st through 23rd. DCimprov.com for tickets.
And it's called DC Improv, but these are stand-up comedy shows. I always think the Improv is the most appropriately named comedy chain. It's like it's only stand-up comedy.
Right.
They don't have improv groups there, yet they're all called the Improv. It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, they are a big chain now too, right?
Yeah,
There's so
very
many
big.
different-
Very big. Yeah. The DC one's nice. It's an older club and it's got the low ceilings and it's good. Yeah. And it's actually in DC. Sometimes these comedy clubs say they're in the city, but they're like 40 miles outside the city they say they're in.
Well, DC has always been a weird place too, where a lot of the people in the suburbs don't go in to the district at night because I've done stuff there.
Yeah.
And they would be like, yeah, I'd love to come, but it's in the district. And I'm like, stop it.
Yeah.
Just-
more are coming in now.
Yeah.
More are coming in now. But DC's a very weird city. Very weird. And doing crowd work there is a little different too, because it's so insular and it's politics.
Right.
It's kind of a one industry town. A lot of people are afraid to say, what they do for a living or something like that. Because they're afraid someone else might know them or they might know someone who knows them. So everyone's like a little on edge when you do crowd work there. It's very interesting. Very
I'd
different.
rather not say.
Yeah.
It's classified, actually.
Well, the amount of money that runs through DC now, like you could just see how built up those suburbs have gotten. And you're like, that's all taxpayers' money that ends up in these businesses somehow.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's when you just think of how much of tax money runs through. It's trillions and trillions of dollars. And if you're there, you just got to slow some of this shit down and put it in your pocket. You don't need all of it. Just a little bit.
Piece
You're
of pie.
incredibly rich. You're incredibly rich.
And let's remember, today's election day. Vote everybody.
yeah.
Vote everybody.
Yeah.
Go vote.
Oh, you voted? Oh, cool.
I did
Great.
vote.
Did you vote for the first female mayor of...
Spoiler alert, I did not.
So today in New York City is this the mayor election?
Yeah.
The mayor, yeah.
It
exactly.
is. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then there are a couple other things on the ballot and 3 propositions that are on
What
the
are the
ballot.
propositions?
The first one is to vote on the, I believe it's like the convention, like the Constitutional Convention. Then the second proposition, I believe, is about taking pension away from any politician who has committed a crime that has
Sexual
something.
assault.
Yeah, like it's got to be like a big crime that you
they
would
were
take
still
away.
getting pensions if they were.
Yeah, like if you were in jail
I didn't figure
for
that
some
out.
sort of crime. And then the third one was
Riding on the outside of the trains again.
Yes, making it legal again.
That'd be cool.
India has that whole thing down packed. They know how to get on the outside of a train.
Yeah. Or we could just use those little baby cages, and you could just get in a little
they're
cage on the
adorable.
outside of the
Maybe
train.
we need to bring 3-card Monty back. Bring that back.
We were talking about the sense of skill that those guys had.
Oh, yeah.
That you could not follow that.
Oh, yeah. They had a trick of flipping it.
Yeah.
Or you can't really see it.
You can't see it. And that skill level is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But they would still have to run at least 8 times a day from cops.
Yeah.
I remember seeing those guys, like a cop would come walking up and they would wait until they were like at 12 feet before they would take off.
Right.
The crack dealers were the same way. The cop would have to almost be on top of them before they would leave.
Right.
It was always so weird when Times Square had sex and drugs because it wasn't the kind of drugs that you wanted or the kind of sex that you wanted. I can't imagine anyone who had sex with those Times Square prostitutes because they were way rougher than you could believe.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was. I remember like me and some friends once. We had to check out Show World. Show World was like the biggest, most disgusting. It took up almost all of 8th Avenue from 42nd Street to 43rd Street. So I remember us going in there and it was just like, we're like, all right, we've seen this. We've walked by it a million times. We got to go check it out. So we go check it out. And it's just hundreds of people in there because it's multiple levels. And then there's this one area where like, it was really kind of like scary kind of, and creepy. And then there was this little kid in the corner. I don't know. He looked like he was like, 16 or something. I'm not sure what country he was from. And he would just yell, walk around. He would just go, walk around, walk around, walk around all day. Because people are walking around. They're like, all right, what should we do next? This is all horrible. Should we check out some other section here? It's all disgusting and awful. Where should we go next? And he just goes, walk around, because they want people to spend money. So there's this one area where it's like, you ever see the movie Paris, Texas?
Yes.
So there's that scene where Harry Dean Stanton goes into a booth and he's talking to his ex-wife, Nastasia Kinski, and there's like a glass wall where he can see her, but she can't, and then she can't see him, but they're on the phone. So they had that one there. And you literally, so you see those, you see like a whole line of those. And then outside it on the floor, you see one of the strippers just, with her backpack and she's reading a book, because, she's waiting to go in. So it's like, you see those behind the scene things that normally they would give some kind of illusion that maybe there's some fantasy going on here, but there was just none of that at all.
She's just a lady on break, going through the post, drinking a cup of coffee. And this fucking place. Huh?
So it was, we were like, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah, that, just the thought of walking into that is an act of bravery, in my opinion, because, it was so dark, and it was the exact opposite of being turned on.
One time I went to there was an interesting period, I think it was in the early 90s, when they closed down the porno movie theaters in Times Square, and there was this phase where someone put up poems on all the marquees that used to be the porno theaters. You can Google it. I don't know who did it, but it's like poems, like early 90s, and it was wild. So anyway, some of the porno theaters, they stayed open for a while, but they weren't allowed to show porno. This is during the Giuliani 60-40 rules. So I went there once. I wanted to see, because they started showing just old movies.
Yeah.
And they were showing Meteor, which was like a Bo Hopkins, like really trashy, just like a B sci-fi movie. So I go in there, and it was just packed with like homeless guys, and I think it was just such a creepy vibe. It looked like a lot of guys were just sleeping, and I think it was a lot of people who used to just go to the pornos, but they weren't showing pornos anymore, but they needed some place, I guess, that, had air conditioning where they could just sit.
Yeah.
It was really dark, man.
A lot of that thing was just that, like, I can't afford a place. Yeah. I can go in here and sleep sitting up. And they used to even go along and just kick chairs and stuff. They'd say, you're supposed to be awake here. This isn't a hotel. But, this city, it can be just so brutal.
Oh, yeah.
Just so brutal.
It really can.
It's cruel. It's a really cruel place.
Yeah. I was, Gilbert has a new documentary.
Yeah, I want to see it.
And there is a scene, he is with his sister, and it's so tiring looking. She's going through medical stuff, and he's with her on the bus coming back. And it's just like, how when you're sitting in two different seats, you're not like in a row together, and you just have that thing of New York is like, I can't believe, she's going through chemo, he's supporting. But just that thing of just trying to survive New York.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is like one of my favorite New York shots, because everyone has seen it and everyone has been in it.
Yeah. Just getting through the day can be brutal.
Just brutal. Particularly like if you're not making the kind of money that you should be staying here in the first place.
Yeah.
And Chris Stanley, no other life.
None
so
whatsoever.
Nothing that I bring up about the rest of the world makes sense to him.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up?
Here.
Where?
Right here, Astoria, Queens.
Oh, really?
This isn't Astoria, though.
Well, Manhattan, New York City. Even into the early 90s, there were dudes, some dude pulled a knife on my dad by the Port Authority. So that area was still a little fucked up.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, somebody can pull a knife on you tonight.
Yeah.
I saw a gimmick go down in front of the stand that I bet people were doing in the 1930s.
Oh, what was it?
It was two guys that were acting like they were special needs, but you could tell they were bad actors.
Oh, this is amazing.
And one was
this is a good one.
And the guy's wearing and they were two big guys. And he's wearing like a neon cap, and he's pushing this like little razor scooter, and he has a bag with him, and he falls over, and all of his stuff breaks.
Right.
And what am I gonna do? Right. And then his friend came over. He's helping him up, and then he's saying to me, "Were you laughing at him? He's lost of it." I go, "Dude, I'm with it. I was raised in a carny. You know what I mean? I grew up in a carnival.
Yeah.
Work this shit uptown. You're down too far. I'm not.
You said that to them?
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
I go, this bit doesn't work down here. You've got to take it up. And they wouldn't give it up. They wouldn't act.
Yeah.
And this went on for like a half an hour. And then finally some old people are stopping. What happened to you? Because everybody wants to act like they're helpful to a special needs person. Yeah. But again, this bit, as they say, has whiskers.
Yeah.
That's how old it is.
I remember one of my jobs, a little bit of a depressing job. I used to hand out flyers on the street for a foot doctor. And it was, the hours were horrible because it was like 7 to 9:30, and then you're on a break where you didn't get paid. And then you worked like 11:30 to 1:30 because they just wanted you out there when people were walking around, So it would take all day, but you're only getting paid for half the day, So anyways, I go to this one corner to hand out the flyers, and then I'm standing there, and then some guy in a wheelchair rolls up to me, and he's like, "Fuck you, you piece of shit. This is my fucking corner. Get the fuck out of here. This is my fucking corner." And then I go, "What are you talking about? Anybody can do. I'm not interrupting anybody." And then he just starts going. As soon as I start talking to him, he starts going, just moving his hands and acting like he's got some kind of muscular disease, and just going, and people are just fucking throwing money into his thing. I'm like, oh man, this fucking asshole.
Yeah. But you got to work in front of the right folks who are going to see that.
Yeah.
And be
that's ballsy of you though, because those guys could have if there's two of them. So if they wanted to fight, or if one of them has a knife or something, then they can just mug you. But that's ballsy that you did that.
Well, right away I was just like, why are you doing? You know what I mean? Like it was almost being like
coaching them.
Yeah, critical of. It's not so much what you're doing, although when you go for the special needs thing, it's the lowest of the low that you could pull off. You know what I mean? I don't mind if you say that you're homeless and you're not.
Right.
But why? Right. I don't know what your faith is, but why taunt the universe?
Right.
We all
well,
get
that's
hit
also
with
why they
anything.
get upset with the stolen valor thing too, is if somebody uses that they're a vet.
Oh yeah.
And they're not a vet.
That's
that one is
things. And dudes have run that right into Congress.
Yeah.
There's been guys that have been like, when I was back in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And then the internet came out.
Or Brian Williams. Right. His war stories.
He's a helicopter hero, right?
Yeah, sure is.
And he's like, hey, it's just a show. Why are you guys getting mad at me? I'm just doing your show. Doesn't it feel like everything is a show now, though?
It does, yeah.
Well, that's what's interesting. When you go on some of the news shows, I've been on some of the news shows, it is interesting because you actually realize, oh, this is a show. This is they're getting makeup done and they're getting their hair done. This is a show.
Well, whenever you brag about getting ratings, you're a show. No one who was like
the number one show in news.
Right.
And
I don't think Paul Revere was like, dude, did you see what my cum was for the amount of people that heard me screaming? Judah, always great to see you.
Great to see you. Thanks for the love, both of you. Thanks so much.
Please see his movie. It's on Netflix, and it's just so damn good. And
if you like it, write a review on the Netflix page. That'll help me a lot. Actually.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that'll help me a lot. Write a little review. That helps me so much.
Great.
Judah Friedlander, America is the greatest country in the United States. That's available now on Netflix. He's performing at the Village Underground in New York City Tuesday, November 28th, 8 p.m. ComedyCellar.com for tickets. And Judah's going to be at the Improv in Washington, D.C., December 21st through the 23rd, DCImprov.com for tickets, and on Twitter at JudahWorldChamp.
We'll be right back. This is Bennington.
Welcome back to Bennington. Josh Adam Myers, Jeremiah Watkins, and Avery Pearson are here. You can see Josh, Avery, and Jeremiah tonight at the New York Comedy Club for the Midnight Snack. at 11:15 p.m. as part of the New York Comedy Festival, featuring Dulce Sloan, Sean Patton, and Mateo Lane. NewYorkComedyClub.com for tickets.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you too, man.
All right, what is this show that you guys are doing in town? How's this work?
This show is something that started with me and Avery at the Hollywood Improv about 3 years ago.
Yep.
They would do this show where it was like they'd have the 10 o'clock show, and then at midnight me and Avery would run up on stage and try to keep the 10 o'clock audience to see if they'd stick around.
Born out of disparity.
Yeah,
really born out of disparity. And then we needed somebody more spastic, so we added Jeremiah. That's my voice. Don't talk like that on the radio. They're gonna get confused.
for sure.
Sorry, dude. This is just what you sound like.
Dude, yeah, it was great. Midnight Snacks.
Dude, Midnight Snack. It started off.
Is that how I sound?
Yeah, dude. This exactly how.
Oh, yeah, dude. Exact way.
Wow, we're like the three-headed monster of comedy. You never know what you're gonna get.
No one ever thinks. No one is like Jack Nicholson has never said that guy's got me down. This is so. It never sounds like that to you. Right?
I've never heard one impersonation that sounds like me. I feel like I have a more like smooth jazz draw with a little bit of like vomit from Oxycontin taking. But besides that, they just.
He sounds like the Zatarans, man.
Zatarans. Yeah, dude.
I don't get that reference at all. That reference is completely. I don't know why you're laughing. What is Zatarans?
I sound like I swallowed glass. I gargle with Ajax.
Right, this is it.
We do.
So tell them about the show, dude. Come on. Break it down, dude. Let them know what's going to happen.
All right, so the show is me, Jeremiah, and Avery. We just kind of attack the audience. So we just do all this musical improv. And it's, what's the tagline, Avery?
Great pitch, first of all. We attack the audience.
If you want to get attacked.
Not like that.
We call it comedy music mayhem. I'm on keys. Jeremiah's on sax.
There you go.
And we make up songs about the audience based on what they look like or react to us.
I was never good at writing synopsises, so that was perfect.
Oh, for sure, dude.
Yeah.
But you'll help people in relationships through your music as well. Like you will look at people and go, "Here's what you need to make her feel okay about herself."
We definitely do that. We definitely massage the audience. It just started out as something that we just wanted to mess around. Yeah. The Improv gave us the showroom every Saturday night, and then we got banned. For a little bit.
The Kevin Smith
We
incident.
pissed off Kevin Smith.
It's impossible.
I know. It's very rare that he gets upset when it's not about like spoiler alerts. But we showed up one day, and so me and Jared, you want to tell it?
Yeah.
Go ahead. You're better at this.
Basically, we showed up and we kept being like, and we're a rolling show at the time at the Improv. Like, it's free. Like, they're not making any money off of us. They're giving us stage time.
We're giving out shots to the audience. There's a lot of
we're causing the Improv to go in debt with this show. So Kevin Smith, he's their big moneymaker there. Yeah. Like
that's
his fans
breadwinner. Sold out, guaranteed.
Sold out.
Friday.
All his fans eat a lot of food. They consume a lot of drinks. Let's just be honest here, all right, guys?
Through the roof after Hollywood Babylon.
So they're killing it, and Josh and I are bugging the sound guy. We're like, "Hey, are we? So is this show about to wrap up? Because it's getting close to midnight right now." So basically, we keep bugging the sound guy. He starts missing sound cues on the show.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the show ends, we run up on stage and scare Kevin Smith and company.
Dude, like literally, like they're like, he's like, "All right, everybody, thanks for coming out." And they're applauding. And then it was slow motion. Jeremiah and I are like running, and then he jumps over like their table that they had, and we grabbed the mic in a rolling motion, and we literally kept the whole audience. And it was probably one of our best shows. Yeah. Until Monday came,
right.
And then the Hollywood Improv banned us for a month because we can't upset their breadwinner.
Right.
And then we got banned a few other times for things that I'd say to the audience to keep them to stay.
There was a Mentos incident at one point.
Yeah, I made a guy choke. I flicked a Mentos into a dude's mouth out of the packaging, and he almost choked to death.
But he's
so we got in trouble for that.
Yeah. He's okay.
It's a very wild show.
Yeah.
But it's what's cool about it is that we've taken it, and the three of us, because we all work together on the goddamn Comedy Jam, and then we when we did the Comedy Central show, Comedy Central gave us our own talk show. So we were doing that, and it's just something that, like, we're just three guys that, have the same kind of sensibilities comedically, and it just melds. And
we just, like, make up riff songs that go on, and it's just a lot of
we invite a few guests on. So Mateo Lane, Dulce Sloan, and Sean Patton are our guests. So they come up, do some stand-up that they're working on currently, and then we come back up on stage with them and make up songs with them. So you get to see a little bit of everything: stand-up, music, riffing. It's a lot of fun.
It's wild.
Now, does every stand-up sing, or does just some of the stand-ups
We
sing?
gotta force it upon them.
Yeah,
Sean Patton can sing?
We're gonna find out.
Yeah. I mean,
because that's...
he's gonna go for it.
Yeah.
He commits, so it's
No,
gonna
he
be.
does commit.
He does commit, so it's gonna be fun.
It doesn't have to be working, but he will. Some people are like, I don't want to break in the new material. Some will, I'll break it in.
Well, what's
I'll do
cool
it.
is that it started as like they would come up and they'd work out their material, and I walk off stage, and then Jer and Avery would stay up there, and they would like tag up their things, and then it just became like Avery loves to use like that 1970s Andy Warhol. It's a happening, man. It's just like this free for all,
Which it
really, he's right. It is, regardless of how cheesy that sounds. Yeah, it really is just this like really cool party that's going down.
Well, that is very difficult today, that you have to remind people to be in the moment and that it's a live show, since very few things are live. We were just talking about this earlier today, is that people in New York used to go out every single night. They would not think that TV was something to do.
Right.
And now you see people like, yeah, but I got my show tonight. You're like, why the fuck are you paying New York prices? Get out and be weird.
Sure.
So people used to love that happening thing. Chris, are you out at nights at all?
Not like I used. Now when I was younger. Oh, now I have a lady. Then we're hanging out at home.
But that's a perfect thing. Is take the lady out
to a sex club.
Yeah.
Chris. Sex
Take her to a sex
Yeah,
club.
I mean,
she'd
I'll
love
ask.
that.
Get a booking.
The thing is, you could just make love in front of other people. You don't have to join in with them.
That's
Just
fun.
let them
She might
know.
like
Midnight
that.
Snack's all
And
about.
that is really it.
Okay, great. All right.
Chris, we've got time tonight if you want to come and have sex.
That's tonight at the New York Comedy
at the New York Comedy Club, 11:15.
As part of the New York Comedy Festival.
Yeah, man.
NewYorkComedyClub.com for tickets featuring Dulce Sloan, Sean Penn, and Mateo Lane.
It's almost like somebody wrote that for you.
Yeah,
You're
that's
saying
really
it so
good. Yeah.
perfectly.
Right? Weird.
I like New York Comedy Club because it's like a black box theater. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
it is just darkness, and the laughs just echo.
The sound
around
system's
that.
incredible there.
Yeah, it's really great.
We did a run through there when we were getting ready to tape. Not what's your deal?
Cecil.
The Cecil.
Yeah.
We were about to do that with Big J, and so Emilio, the owner, had seen Avery and I doing Jay's show at Montreal, and then he was like, guys, I want you to come. And so we've been trying to get this to more New York. I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like this is more of a New York show than it is an LA show.
Right.
I mean, LA is like such a stuck up, like everybody's kind of just, well, we can do that. And then it's like,
There goes our LA audience, baby.
Oh, well, we weren't doing very well in New York anyway. But it's the truth. It's just it's like a hip thing. Like anytime we did the goddamn comedy jam here, the audience just gave up even just a little bit more than we would get in LA. And I mean, we did some crazy stuff on the jam in LA, and it's just we're still fighting to get them out of their like, oh, we're not impressed thing. So it's like I'm really excited to be able to do the full show here. Yeah. Because I really think they're going to dig it, and it's something that we could probably bring here more often. I mean,
And it's easier for you guys to move around as a trio, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, we don't have to schlep a violinist or Johnny Scortis, the roadie. I mean, this is what's great about the jam is that the jam is still this event, but this is
Johnny's
like
a good guy, dude.
I'm not saying he's
He's
not, I'm
out.
just saying
He's done.
Listen, man. He takes up a lot of space. I'm not into it.
Man, dude, Johnny Scortis, man, you got to buy 2 plane seats for him, man. So this is he's big. What am I?
No, he's a big dude.
He's saying he's a huge Malacca. Don't act like I'm not saying it.
No.
But this is something that like the three of us have been working together on just a bunch of different projects. We've known each other Avery is probably the one that came on the soonest because he was in Canada and he was actually doing theater.
Yeah, I'm an actor.
He's multi-talented.
Multi-talented. You can just say multi-talented. I was on Masters of Sex. That's pretty impressive.
Okay, you had one line, bro.
Okay, but it was a good line.
What was the line?
I think it was Namaste.
That was good.
Yeah.
But it's something that we've just been working on and honing.
I got chills listening to that.
Did you?
Yeah. Wow.
I'm actually born again from hearing that.
Oh, well, welcome back.
Spiritually connected.
Hi. Do you
Spiritually
do
connected.
workshops, Avery? Hi, hello, welcome everyone. Take a deep breath in and comedy.
Workshop that.
Yeah, thanks.
You're Canadian though?
I am. I'm from Toronto, and I actually got into comedy out in New York. I lived in New York for about 8 years. I was doing theater downtown, and then came out and met these guys, and Josh is like, "Oh, dude, we're best friends now." I was like, "I've known you for a month."
No. You guys ever met somebody where right off the jump you just know that there's like, oh, this person's got a good vibe, they got good energy. This is a person I want to be around. You reminded me of my buddy Angelo Bowers. I've told you that, who passed away. And so, like the second, he's just because they have the same quality. Angelo was chubby and fun, and very nice. and audience,
describing the Stay Puft Marshmallow.
Avery Pearson, you'll probably get the young photos where he's not as chubby. Now you are a chubby funster.
Married and have a kid, so I gave up.
You have given up, but you look okay.
I'm okay. I'm pre-diabetic, but it's
Avery is profusely sweating right now.
Well, I'm wearing 2 layers, and I didn't want to like.
Yeah, take it off.
If it was 20 degrees in here, you'd be sweating, bro.
Oh, dude.
Oh, this is good.
Man, and he can act, and he's
because you've got Canadian blood.
That's right.
You've got Canadian
it's frozen
blood.
And it's thawing now.
Yeah, it's finally thawing out. After all this time, Chris, you don't plug anymore. What happens?
What happened to the plug?
All right, Josh Adam Myers, Jeremiah Watkins, and Avery Pearson are in studio. You can see Josh, Avery, and Jeremiah tonight at the New York Comedy Club for the Midnight Snack at 11:15 p.m. as part of the New York Comedy Festival featuring Dulce Sloan, Sean Patton, and Mateo Lane. Go to NewYorkComedyClub.com for tickets.
Off the dome! You just said that, dude. Not even looking at the one sheet.
Looking at anything?
Wow, that was really impressive.
That was good. That was really good.
All right, the next one that you do, I want you turned around so I can believe you.
All right.
I want you to have your back to us.
Okay.
And do it all perfectly.
I will fucking nail it.
Okay. and the reason why Emilio saw you guys because you were with Jay that night.
Yes. Well, I think he had popped in and saw like a little bit of the show in LA. And then he came to the jam, loved that. And then I was like, I promoted him on we were doing What's Your Fucking Deal? And then he showed up for that. I was just blown away. I mean, that was the one in Canada was like, I mean, it was just insane because they had it in the strip club. It was like the perfect environment. We just followed Brad Williams, so you had a little person comic up there giving some girl a lap dance, and then we just came up and did something musical, and this is what we had been doing, already for years, so it was just jumping right into it.
Yeah, I heard from Rebecca. I think Rebecca might have been there that night because she came back to me. And
Trent?
Yeah. And then Amy came back and they were like, I just saw one of the best things I've ever seen. And then they explained it to me and I'm like, I still don't understand what you mean. I don't understand how
it's literally...
It doesn't make any sense on paper.
Yeah, it really does. It's literally like a step up from bar mitzvah DJ.
Yeah.
It's literally what it is. Like
improv with music seems impossible to me. I think that's part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's something like, dude, listen, there are times that it's the greatest thing in the world, but we're firing on all cylinders. We are the three-headed beast.
Got harmonies, and then
other times it's been really bad.
Yeah.
And we're fine with that because it's like you can't always knock them out of the park. But
and is it just that you don't know where the other person is going with it, and then somebody's taking it in a different direction?
Jeremiah, you want to take that? You're the most critical of us.
I am very critical. I have very high standards, and after the shows, I'll be like, "Guys, not our best show." And they're like, "What are you talking about?"
Who's got standing ovation? Yeah, dude, but their legs hurt. Yeah, they just wanted to stretch.
They were leaving.
Yeah, sometimes things spin out of control, and you don't know where to go with it. And then people start leaving, and then Josh starts telling people they have syphilis and gonorrhea for leaving. And
I do that.
It's a really classy move.
I'm not proud of it, but I do it. But it's funny, like because all the people that are staying.
If you leave right now, you've got gonorrhea.
That exact line has happened so many times.
Yeah, it is. It's true. And then Rita, the improv, is like, all right, guys, you can't say that about a gonorrhea. And I'm like, all right, I won't do it again. And then the next week, I'm just, gonorrhea. HPV. And then HPV gets the laugh, and then she gets mad again.
Yeah.
So.
I think Kevin Smith is in town for the festival, too.
Yeah.
Maybe we get you guys together at some point.
Get him
We
on
need
the
to
line,
make
Chris.
up.
Come on.
We need to make
Kevin Smith on the
with
line.
Kevin Smith.
Yeah. On Jason Mewes, too.
I didn't know that he was doing every Friday night.
He's not, I think he's doing every other week.
Yeah.
The improv, it's crazy. Like it's such a great club, but they're guaranteed shows that they have sold out every week. They have the his show, and then like the Love It or Leave It. I mean, they've been having a lot of podcasts there. I mean, it's like lines out the door for that.
Comedy Juice almost as well.
Comedy Juice. I mean, the shows there are always great. I mean, we're trying right now. It's like to figure out a new home for the show, and they've offered us like a 10 o'clock show. They've offered us, our own night, and it's like we like the midnight aspect of it. It's a fun show that works in that reality of that realm of just like, okay, so you saw one show and, if you don't want to go home yet and you still want to party and drink a little bit, and those are the people that we get, and they're always, anytime we do the show, it's like, I can't even tell you how many times prior to doing it, I've looked at them and been like, I don't want to do this, guys. I'm not in the mood to do this. Like, this is going to be terrible. But then, like 20 minutes later, we've been riffing on this dude's penis, for
Old Man River,
and it's just we have like return customers, and it's just fun, man. So, I think
we have one guy that flies in from when he's on leave. Our buddy Bobby.
Yes, and he brought me
crazy.
And he brought me cigars, Ron, that I am going to give to you because I owe you about 40 of them.
I thought our thing was I give you a cigar.
I know,
but
it is. But I don't know. I don't know if you talked. I talked to Amy Hawthorne about it, and I was like, I think Ron's mad at me, man. I think I bummed way too many cigars off him, dude. I think he's gonna. I think I gotta buy him a box. I'm gonna buy him a box.
Is that even an expression? Bumming cigars off of people?
Yeah.
That's just like
it's not.
That's not even an expression.
Because it's like saying, "Can you lend me $18?"
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I'm like the fat girl when it comes to head. I'm just like, okay. Thanks for coming over.
You should do our show.
Yes, I'm ready.
Great on Midnight Snack.
But no, you don't owe me a cigar because I'd rather keep this uneven thing.
No, God, no, dude.
No,
but that's not me. And
I like that, though. It's fun for me.
But
It's
I've
a
got
power
some
position.
Cubans for you that I'm going to give to you.
All right.
I forgot them today.
Of course you did.
Well, I mean, you know. It's a lot of schlepping has been involved in the last week. We just
and by Cuban, they're Guatemalan cigars.
No, they're not.
Yes.
They're Cubans, 100%. Romeo and Julieta. I've got them.
Now, you're a cigar smoker, but not necessarily a cigar buyer. I think that's great. I think that's great, dude. Yeah, I used to be the same way when I did coke. I was like, who's got some coke? Which one of you guys is holding?
That's hysterical. That's like most people in LA. I call it LA sobers. They only do drugs if they're offered them. You know what I mean? And no, I do buy cigars.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of them. I have my spot right by the Improv, V-Cut. You ever been there?
No.
The V-Cut. It's great little. Okay.
Proud sponsor.
Proud sponsor of Midnight Snack. V-Cut on Melrose.
V-Cut is my favorite place to bum cigars. Let me tell you. There's guys always standing up front. Kind of looks like Ron Bennington, actually.
Your audience is going to really think horribly about me right now.
You're doing great.
Okay,
come on, dude. Yeah, dude. Have some Schweppes.
Plus, I think it's rude when two people go to the bathroom and don't invite you, and they have coke.
That's true.
Like, that's disgusting. That's awful. Chris, this is it, and you're not looking at all.
I'm not looking at anything.
Okay,
Here we go.
Josh Adam Myers, Jeremiah Watkins, and Avery Pearson are in studio. They're going to be at the Midnight Snack at the New York Comedy Club tonight, 11:15 p.m. with Dolce Sloan, Sean Patton, and Mateo Lane as part of the New York Comedy Festival. Go to NewYorkComedyClub.com for tickets.
Wow. He nailed it.
That's really good, Chris.
Nailed it.
I want to rock. Are you going to be there tonight, Chris?
I'm going to try and make it, yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to a sex club, right? Is that what you said earlier?
Well, I'm
Sex
trying to
club
book a room, yeah.
He is in a relationship with a Costa Rican. A beautiful Costa Rican.
Ooh, I love their cigars.
Interracial.
Yeah.
Great ref.
She was born there, Chris, or born here?
She was born there and then moved here very shortly after.
Well, I know eventually she moved. But she speaks Spanish?
She speaks fluent Spanish.
It's very
yes.
sexy.
Good for you.
It's very
Does
sexy.
she speak Spanish in the boudoir?
She does not.
She call you Poppy?
No, she doesn't call me Poppy.
Get her to do that.
All right, maybe I'll suggest that to her.
Try it tonight. I bet you never tap out of that again. You keep it going.
She calls me sexy words like bendejo. Puta. That's like really dirty talk in the bedroom.
So hot.
Yeah.
She called me maricon last night. It was really sweet.
And I was rock hard.
I think it's great to date a third world girl, though. You can press her a lot easier.
Is it third world?
Yeah,
I think that's third. That's
way
100% third world.
You're
That's a song,
yeah,
too.
just penicillin is probably going to turn her on a little bit.
Does she have that little circle on her shoulder right here?
Not that I've noticed. What's a little circle?
That's like the vaccination scar.
Yeah, that's the old polio scar.
You go to the new wave third world girls, the advanced ones.
One poke.
Because we stopped doing it that way. Because like generationally, like I feel like a certain generation had those like
you know it was only the boys who got it on the shoulder, and the girls used to get it on the thigh. And when you were a little kid, you see a girl with a sexy little scar on her thigh.
A thigh dimple.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
But I've only seen it on the shoulder.
Yeah,
my mom's got one on her thigh.
Does she really?
Yeah.
I guess that's what they did in Canada.
Yeah.
And the thing is,
it's a third world country.
Yeah,
but his mom, that was the inside of her thigh. It was
My mother's a sweet woman. She's like, what, Avery? You don't have to be like that on the radio.
I heard you on the radio today, Avery. What was that all?
Okay. Nice one.
Thank you, man. I like shitting on your family.
But-
Canada, not your
Country,
family.
yeah.
This is a tough thing to bring up in front of Chris because he also has no family, not a living family member. He is, Gail, what's it called?
he is an endling.
An endling.
The last of his species.
His parents died, and he had no cousins, no aunts and uncles.
All dead.
His grandmother, but she died.
I knew one grandmother. Never met either of my grandfathers, and didn't meet the grandmother on my father's side. So I only had one grandparent my entire life.
You're like the wood sprites from the movie Avatar.
Right?
Just the last of your kind.
Great reference.
Thank you very much. I've been waiting to use that for a long time, dude.
So wood sprites.
That was the perfect time.
Yeah, no better time.
Biggest movie of all time.
Three people listening to this right now who just jizzed in their pants.
Finally! They're going to buy my CD now, and now might be my biggest fans. They're following me on Instagram as we speak. It's the truth, man.
Now, we had his DNA checked. And what all were you, Chris?
All right, I was 40% Irish.
Yeah.
Then I was 28% Baltic, which is basically gypsy, like Romania and Lithuania.
Nice.
20% Ashkenazi Jew.
Heck yeah, that's me too.
Which you didn't know.
No idea.
No one ever told
It
him.
never came up once.
You look a little Ashkenazi.
Thank
Does
you.
he?
You
Yeah,
look
he
like
does.
me
A little bit.
You also look like a chubby version of the lead singer of Mumford & Sons.
I get that a lot.
That
Yeah,
comes
dude.
up.
Hold me fast. Hold me fast, fool.
And that's the first time that guy was the smaller version of anything ever.
He's also
from Mumford.
He's also on a list of like top 10 bands where the frontman isn't the hottest guy in the band, which also
Is that right?
hurt. Yeah.
Let's go through these bands.
Okay, let me.
That there's somebody hotter than the frontman. Because I was thinking about bands where the lead singer, you don't think of it as his band. Like The Who, it's not Roger Daltrey's
sure.
band.
Yeah,
you know? Not at all. Now, would you say Led Zeppelin? Who is
No,
the-
because Bonham is just as important as Robert Plant.
Yeah.
And like that's
They're an
for some,
entity.
yeah, like that's it's kind of like the Beatles. It has to be all of them. You're saying who
Except
is
for
just
Ringo.
right?
I'm in the corner.
Dude, Ringo, no. Ringo deserves all the respect in the world, man. That guy's drumming, and 90% of the songs is just so complicated and complex that we just shit on him because everybody else was so good, and he was singing Octopus's Garden, but
Right.
there's so
Right.
much other great stuff.
But you think he's a great drummer?
I do.
Ringo.
Well, because like if you listen to the drums on A Day in the Life, if you listen to the drums on, Run for Your Life, and so many other songs that they have, it's like he wasn't just doing basic beats. Just like where Bonham was so much pounding and so much complication in what he was doing, Ringo just had these very small nuances that just really made the songs interesting, and I think it can be picked apart. I think just it's easy to shit on him just because his name's Ringo.
I think if people, I always notice this. It's always non-drummers who think that he's not a good drummer, but drummers will always go, "No, Ringo is really cool." But I think because his kit also looks so small, since it was
it was just like a
1964.
Tinker Toy drum set. Like it's like nothing to it.
Yeah.
But look at the Beach Boys. I mean, I couldn't pick out which guy's the lead in it. They all look the same.
Well, I think it's Brian Wilson's band, though,
It's
right?
definitely Brian Wilson's band.
Yeah.
But which one's but we were talking about which one was like the good looking one of them all. I don't think it's
the
Brian
one,
Wilson.
Dennis,
Dennis
the
is-
drummer.
yeah.
There you go.
The one he was the one who ended up with the Manson girls.
Oh, there you go. That's
well, that
nice.
works out.
Yeah.
I also think it should be. What are we on here? What is the name of this?
All right, this is the frontmen that weren't the hot ones in these bands.
Yeah.
So Mike Love is not the.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
No.
hideous. He's terrible. All right, are you saying that Paul McCartney is not the hot one?
That's what this
Or are
list
they
is saying.
saying that Paul McCartney is not the frontman?
Yeah, that's debatable because Lennon
Yeah.
could easily be the frontman.
Yeah.
Definitely not George.
George, yeah.
But
Although
you always
George,
say that he's the hot one.
George was always my favorite.
Because he's the
For
most
sure.
spiritual.
All things
Yeah.
must
He wrote
pass
the
is
most
incredible.
It's the best.
It's
Yeah,
the best.
for
The
sure.
best. It's the best post Beatles record
Yes.
in my
Period.
opinion.
Agreed.
Mine's
Yeah.
Agreed. Good. I'm glad we all.
Yeah, we're all together.
We're all
but then, of
together.
course,
I think
Fall
everybody
Out Boy.
starts. Everybody, when you start off as a Beatles fan, you rep either Paul or John.
Yeah.
And then when you really get older, you realize that George was just like the most brilliant out of them.
Yeah.
He was so quiet, so
But-
subdued, stayed out of trouble.
But I love how he was held down by the other. Like he would bring in these songs, and they would go, "No, George, we're not playing your fucking song.
Yeah.
You get one song an album. That's it."
Fall Out Boy, they're all ugly.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know.
But I think they're calling Pete Wentz the dreamboat of the. This is the lead
Which
singer.
ones?
I don't know who this guy.
The guy in the glasses.
He's the lead singer.
Stump. Well, his last name's Stump, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
I mean,
And then
I
that's
learned
Pete
Photoshop
Wentz,
with him.
and he was kind of,
Right.
you know, he was kind of the art guy.
Sorry.
And he was famous for what reason? Online?
Well, to me, his dick, which was a leaked dick pic, the first leaked dick pic that I had ever known. Because I was going like, what? Why would there be a picture of his dick? Like, it didn't
Right.
even make sense to me. Because like dick pics weren't popular yet.
The
This
leaky
is like
dick.
at the beginning.
so when you got one, it was.
I was
amazing.
shocked. So the front man, not the hottest, and probably doesn't have the biggest dick. Probably not. If I had to guess.
Leaky dick escapades. All right, you two.
This guy is supposed to be the hot guy, right?
Drummer, the
yeah.
drummer from U2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
even know his name right. Adam Clayton. No, that's the other one. This dude.
Oh, that guy.
And this dude in Japan is a pinup model.
What?
Really?
Yeah, the Japanese girls have always been crazy about him. And Bono, I like Bono because he shows his age better than any rock star has ever done before. You just see him getting daddier and daddier as it's going on. And I mean that in a gay way, in the most gayest way, like in the Vito way.
Coldplay.
I don't even know who the other guys are.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's definitely a dude on the right with the frizzy hair kind of leaning back because Chris Martin has got a weird face. The dude on the far left looks like a serial killer or
Yeah,
professional wrestler.
Right.
And the dude in the second to right looks like a junkie.
That's just his buddy that came along for the ride.
Yeah, right.
That's like me to you. Okay. Foo Fighters.
Who are
the-
they saying in Foo Fighters?
Maybe the blonde.
The drummer.
Taylor Hawkins?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's like the worst picture of Dave Grohl I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, he
Yeah.
has no chin.
Because I think he's kind of a dreamboat. Dave Grohl.
Let me tell you something. I'm diving over Taylor Hawkins to get to Dave Grohl. It's not even going to be fucking close.
And then Mumford and
Mumford,
Sons.
of course.
Which one is Chris? Is this Chris?
I'm on the far left.
No, far left.
That's the
me.
guy.
First of all, you look like at least three guys in Mumford and Sons.
And who's the attractive one of Mumford and Sons?
That doesn't happen.
Dude, literally, if you put glasses on and a shit scarf and a blazer, that's fucking you, dude. 100%,
Pull up
dude.
just like a picture of him on his own, so I can.
Of just
see, like,
Mumford?
Just Mr. Mumford
And
himself.
Mumford
Jack
is
Mumford.
fucking. He's with that hot little movie star too, right?
Oh.
Yeah, she was in Drive.
Yeah.
Carrie Mulligan.
Carrie Mulligan.
The black
Yeah.
and white one on the far right. Let's see.
There you go.
Yeah, it makes
That's my
sense.
headshot.
That makes sense. I get it.
That's that headshot. They always make you cross your arms. Like, why? Why?
He means
You know, because
business.
that's how I start.
Hello.
Chris, this would have been you if your parents would have lived.
Right?
You would have. You would have been more centered.
I would have had a shot.
Yeah.
Sweet riff, Ron. Sweet
But also,
riff.
yeah, really good. Great riff.
Do you really get recognized? Do people come up to you and think you're him?
People have said, is that Mumford? From Mumford and
The
Sons.
hell?
Do you ever play it up to try to?
I hear it in passing, but no, I've never actually told anyone. Yes, actually, because he's
So you,
British.
in passing, is like people are just like Mumford.
There's Mumford.
There's Mumford.
No,
He's the Sons.
Where are his sons? I think that guy ate the Mumford and his sons.
that's fucking insulting. That
You would be
Why is he going to a sex show?
Mumford and no sons because you're an endling.
Josh Adam Myers, Jeremiah Watkins, and Davey Pearson are in studio. You can see Josh, Avery, and Jeremiah tonight at the New York Comedy Club for the Midnight Snack Show at 11:15 p.m. as part of the New York Comedy Festival featuring Dolce Sloan, Sean Patton, and Mateo Lane. Go to NewYorkComedyClub.com for tickets.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Andrew, what's up, buddy?
Hey,
I agree with you guys. Ringo was a great drummer, but one of the things, he was a left-handed drummer, but he played a right-handed kit. So a lot of the fills and everything that he does, he's doing in reverse, so people can't replicate it.
Oh, wow. Are you related to Ringo Starr? Or?
No, I hate when people shit on Ringo because he's a great drummer.
They tend to shit on Ringo and Yoko. People are just like, no, it's all about the other ones. It's all about the other ones. Yoko, to me, is my favorite Beatle. Out of everybody.
The way she cackled over that Chuck Berry and John Lennon track is just
fucking love
insane.
that.
It's just, you can feel it from her loins.
All right, thanks, buddy. Peace.
All right, okay.
We're going to try to put Ringo on the pedestal that he deserves. Good to see you guys. I'm glad that you're here in New York. And I think you're right. This is more of a New York show that you guys are doing. Maybe you got to think about making the move. Leave, you know what, midnight train to New York. You know,
I think I'm always like one rejection away from going to New York.
Dude,
I think
I'm outta here,
I'm out of
dude.
here, man. I'm
That's
just gonna sell
it.
the next. Oh God, okay. You watch my dog for 3 years.
Josh Adam Myers, Jeremiah Watkins, David Pearson in studio. You can see Josh Avery and Jeremiah tonight at the New York Comedy Club for the Midnight Snack. That's at 11:15 p.m. as part of the New York Comedy Festival, featuring Dulce Sloan, Sean Patton, and Mateo Lane. Go to NewYorkComedyClub.com for tickets and more information.
it's going to be a great show. Good to see you guys
You too,
again.
brother.
I'm glad
Thank you for having us
that
on, man.
you're
See
in
you, man.
town.
Pleasure.
And that's it for us. Thanks to Judah Friedlander for being in here earlier. You guys have got to see his special. He shot the entire thing himself on these little phones, edited himself, produced it. It's all done in black and white. It's really, really
Oh, wow,
fucking
man.
cool.
That's awesome. That is great.
And it goes to show you don't have to just keep following in that same way what other people are doing.
Yeah.
Break out the next thing. And also thank Kevin Smith. Sorry we had to cut you short today.
Yeah.
But we did.
Finally, we get over you, Kevin.
Sorry, Kevin.
We'll see you guys again in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!